welcome to the mukbang.
Are you thinking about switching your careers from hunter to assassin?
Oh, Lord save me. It's line delivery every time. Thank you, Caleb. Thank you so much. All right, kids. Now that you've basically broken my OPS, Jesus Christ, guys. You should just see on the background. Redeem, 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 redeem. Like, breathe. I'm calling it. I'm calling it here. No more.
Freeze you in place, did I? You're not moving.
Hi, Charter. Hi, Iris. You guys are so interested in Gremlin, you didn't even spawn your raccoons. Hi. This has been a while. I cannot tell you how excited I am to have our Tuesdays, our Tuesdays back. I have missed our Tuesdays together. So,
are you thinking about switching your careers from hunter to assassin?
I'm also really excited because I just unlocked a new rapport with Caleb. Look, look, look.
Who's the best? Faye. Huh? It was about firepower? I'm gravely wounded. Won't you treat my injury?
Oh no, so cute. That's the first time I've seen it. So adorable. Oh, I can't with Caleb. It's too fucking cute. There are two wolves inside Caleb. One is a colonel. And the other is just too fucking adorable and gives me cuteness aggression like you would not believe. Just... chef's kiss. So good.
We really do have a great connection. Even our daydreaming is in sync.
So, children, we are coming to the end of our World Underneath tour. I know it's been a minute, and poor Iris was just like losing it quietly the entire time. Mama, when are you going to go back to World Underneath? You need to read story 29. Iris, baby, we're here. We're finally doing it. And you better stay awake. I swear to God. Iris, if you fall asleep. So, everybody just keep poking Iris. She's not allowed to fall asleep. She's been very excited, and it's been very, very cute. She's very excited for me to read story 29. But we are going to back up a little bit, ironically, because, and I don't really need to go in on this, we all are aware of it, story 25 has been tweaked from what I have been informed about, so I will be rereading story 25 today for all of us, so we have it officially on record. And then we'll be doing story 26, 27, 29, and 30, and that will be the end of our World Underneath journey, at least for the moment. And then we will be moving on, and I hope you're really excited because I'm super excited. Starting next week, hi Rose, we are going to be diving into the myths. We're going to start our myth sessions, and we will be going through each of the boys' myths. I have them all scheduled out in YouTube, so make sure you've hit the notify button on your favorites, which should be all of them, but it's okay if you're only interested in one boy. That's cool too, I understand. But yes, so we're gonna have round one with all our first myths. So we start with Lightseeker, and then we're gonna move into Foreseer and God of Tides, Relentless Conqueror, and of course the Colonel. And then round two is going to be, what is it? Lumiere, Abyss Walker, Master of Fate, Abyssum Sovereign, and Ultimate Weapon Exo 2. So we're just going to work them in order. Every boy gets a week. and we're gonna re-dive in. I'm actually really excited to do so, especially after finishing all the World Underneath stuff, and the things we know in the main story. So I'm really I'm really looking forward to being like, oh my god, foreshadowing! How'd I miss this? Like, I'm such a I'm such a nerd. There's a reason why I have my degree in literature and English, y'all. I am such a nerd. Which, by the way, hello to all of our YouTube members. I want to let you know that I'm putting the final touches on the lore deep dive for the month, and that will be posted soon. So I hope you're excited to read what I have discovered about the Jiaoren and mermaids and Rafayel. It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be great. And also some of our freebies just posted for our members. Look at me doing admin stuff. I'm just so proud of me. Go, my little raccoons, go. So, yes, let us kick off with what's the title now of this? So it's The Little Prince's Gift is the new title for story 25. And let us see. I have heard that there is angst in this, so maybe I will start crying on stream. We don't know. We're gonna find out together. So snuggle in, snuggle down. If you are here for body doubling for chores, I am here as your accountability buddy. But this is gonna be a fun little chill stream as we get back into the groove of our void side chats. Oh, here we go. Also, everybody hydrate. Oh, as in a quick reminder to everybody, of course, you've got the raccoons up, and Cozy Cafe is up. The sound alerts is up. It's all up. Everything's up. Such up, much wow. So, let me get... Here we go. Some light music in the background while we read some ambiance. Chapter 1. Gift. In the royal capital of Philos, there's a morning that captured the attention of the entire planet. Every bell tower in the city rings in unison, and silvery white lights flicker to life along the palace gardens. The whole capital offers its blessings to the newborn prince. They say he'll inherit the most brilliant civilization of the age and carry the future of Philos upon his shoulders. No pressure whatsoever on a tiny newborn. Starting from the moment he opens his eyes, he's surrounded by people. Why isn't he crying? The king asked the royal physician, a note of worry in his voice. The physician examines the infant, then shakes his head. He's equally puzzled. His Highness is perfectly healthy. He just doesn't want to cry. He doesn't want to cry? The king blinks before laughing. His finger brushes against the baby's cheek. The infant doesn't turn his head to chase it the way most children would. He accepts the touch in silence and slowly blinks. Thus, the little prince of Philos grows up under the watchful eyes of the planet. When he turns 1 month old, the royal press officially issues a monthly briefing on the young prince's development. However many teeth he's grown, his first word, the time he tried to walk on his own, tripped, and decided to take a nap right there on the floor. Oh my God, Xavier. These trivial updates never fail to dominate the planet's headlines for days on end. Postcards and mugs printed with the prince's photo appear in marketplaces. Bakeries release milk bread called the prince's favorite. One remote town even named its newly built main road Xavier Road. Their reason is that the prince will walk down this street someday. The king finds the planet-wide fervor rather annoying, but the chief ceremonialist assures him it's a good thing. It shows the people feel connected to the royal family, a sense of belonging, a sense of He pauses, searching for the right word. Then he settles on one that carries considerable weight. Hope. The king concedes, but still issues a decree banning all Prince's favorite merchandise. A 3-year-old child doesn't need to endorse bread, he writes in the official notice. He's not wrong. There is one thing, however, that the king did not and could not ban even if he tried. Gifts. After the prince was born, gifts from every corner of Philos poured into the palace like snowflakes in a blizzard. From ministers, nobles, civilian trade guilds, and even ordinary folk no one had ever heard of. They sent parcels with baby clothes knit by hand, homemade cookies, and letters worth of blessings they spent a year writing. There are too many gifts. Xavier only manages to open a small fraction of them each time. On his 3rd birthday, he spends an entire afternoon unwrapping presents, the discarded wrapping paper piling into a small mountain range around him. A maid leans in and whispers, "Your Highness, there are still over 300 left." Xavier stares at the colorful mountain before him and suddenly feels tired. The queen seems to find the scene rather amusing and offers a suggestion. From now on, he can keep just one gift he liked each birth. You've already received the thoughts behind them. The gifts themselves can carry warmth to someone who needs it more. She looks down at her son. Give the rest to those in need and who treasure them more. Xavier thinks about it carefully, then nods. Okay. And so he issues the first command of his life. He doesn't need any of these gifts. The rest will be donated in the original senders' names to those who need them more. The little prince rises from the pile of presents, brushes off the scraps of paper from his knees, and heads for the door. Where are you going, Your Highness? The garden, Xavier says without looking back. I want to watch the ants move. The maid freezes for a moment, glancing back at the mountain of unopened gifts. Then she sees the prince's figure disappearing through the doorway. She is unsure if she should chase after him or stay behind to clean up. Now here's an interesting question before we continue on with this story. Which life do we think this is? Because remember, at the end of the Dark Knight myth, time is rewound. Xavier is reborn, as well as MC. And the reborn Xavier has memories, sort of. Intuition, maybe? That there are certain things he needs to remember or do, like, oh, I don't know why, but I know I need to learn the sword. Kind of moments. So I'm curious if this story takes place after the time rewind, especially considering now, is it fully believable that a baby Xavier would be the calmest child you've ever met in your life? Absolutely. But there's also a level of, is he calm because it's just Xavier, or is he calm because this is not his first rodeo? You know, we talk about children having old souls, and reincarnation is very much a thing in this story. So it makes me wonder if who we're seeing here isn't first round Xavier, but second round Xavier. Which is why he's so calm about it. Like, he doesn't even cry upon being born. Oh yeah, no, some boys just absolutely want to stare at ants. That's legit. I'm just thinking more in terms of the level of self-possessedness Xavier seems to have in this story. I mean, Xavier himself is a very quiet, thoughtful creature. He really is. I'm not going to take that away from who he is at his core. But babies are babies. Child development is still a thing. So to me, I'm curious, and I wonder, is this the first Xavier or is this the second? I almost want to say it's the second because if this is a story about present day, well, not present day as in the current iteration of Xavier, then, the connection would be there. So, Cien thinks it's the reincarnation. He is a neurodivergent little star. Like, he certainly has some neurodivergent coding, or at least there are certain actions that he takes that, tweak my back brain. I'm reticent to label characters as anything when they aren't specifically labeled in the story. One, because I hate diagnosing people. I don't have a psych degree. It's not my responsibility or my job, and I shouldn't be diagnosing anybody. But there are interesting crossovers between some of my, there are still certain characteristics that Xavier presents wherein I can relate to as a neurodivergent person. And I still think that's a valuable statement to have. And it certainly doesn't take away from anybody who looks at Xavier and goes, oh, his behavior feels very insert here because I am also insert here and I see myself there. That's important. You should be able to see reflections of yourselves in stories. So, that is also an interesting thought process, Cookie. Maybe it's not him remembering his Philos timeline. Maybe he has memories from the past life that goes farther back than Philos. That's absolutely true. I know, Frost, you can't say anything yet. I'm still reading. Hey, Chess! We just started reading, so you haven't missed much. That is also a fair statement to say, Nora Hicks. That he just hasn't found anything that interests him. And that's perfectly viable. Some children are just quiet. But it's a fun thought to play with. Like, where in the timeline is this? Is this the second go-round Xavier, or is it the first go-round Xavier? I think there's interesting implications for both theories. Okay. Chapter 2. Wooden Sword. As the prince passes through the corridor, a tall figure approaches from the opposite direction. The man wears his crisp, white training uniform with a knight's cloak draped over his shoulders, yet he has no sword at his side. He stops and looks down at the child who barely reaches his waist. Are you the birthday boy, little prince? Xavier nods. Without another word, the man tosses a wooden sword his way. Catch. The weight of the wooden sword lands in Xavier's arms. It sends him stumbling until the back of his head hits the stone floor. The maid gasps and rushes to help, but the man raises a hand to stop her. Don't. The middle-aged man regards the child calmly. I am your swordsmanship instructor, starting today. He reaches out and taps the wooden sword. Hold the sword and get up without anyone's help. The prince says nothing. He stares at the sword before him, grips the hilt, and pushes himself up from the ground. His knees tremble with pain. You can stand, the instructor sizes him up. Good. Now, let's see if you can hold on to it. He extends a single finger. I'll only use one hand. That day, Selkie, captain of the Royal Guard, loses count of how many times the little prince is knocked down by that single hand. Whenever he falls, his instructor stands there and waits for the boy to pick himself up, grip the wooden sword that's still a little too heavy for him, and raise it again. Then, with that same finger, he forces him back down with a flick, a lift, or a press. At sunset, the man announces the lesson is over and bends down to pull the sword from the boy's hands. He tugs once, but it doesn't budge. He looks down. The child's fingers are still locked around the hilt. His knuckles are white even though every last ounce of strength has left his body. The man quietly laughs. Do you like your gift? The child is gasping for breath. He doesn't answer, but his grip on the sword tightens. The man laughs louder, leaves the sword where it is, and walks away. I turned the alerts down, but I'll just turn them off for a moment. Is that better? Is the sound off for the alerts? Here, where's my... I'm just going to turn that off like that for a bit. Okay, good. All right. That goes down like that. Okay. I'll let the Twitch alerts rest for a bit since you guys mukbanged the hell out of Gremlin. Okay. Where was I? Honey, that guys, it's not the Gremlin is there for you all to interact. King, no. Please don't add any more. Please don't. We're still behind by like 10 minutes. He's still drinking. You don't understand, King. Everybody for straight 10 minutes fed and everything to Gremlins. So the Twitch is trying to catch up from like the 100 or so requests. Okay, where was I? Levi, you didn't ruin anything. Okay. That evening, the queen finishes her affairs of state and pushes open the door to her son's room. She stops in her tracks at the sight before her. He lies in bed, the blanket seemingly kicked away, the sword, taller than he is, cradled in his arms. When the maid arrives with tea, the queen raises a finger to her lips. She takes the cup herself, carries it to her son's bedside, and sets it on the nightstand. Then she bends down and draws the blanket back up, tucking it over the sword and the child. The first gift little Xavier ever chose from himself was a sword. She gazes at her sleeping child and smiles. 3. Meaning of expectation. The days pass and another birthday draws near. Gifts fill the palace as always. This year, the prince still hasn't found a single one he truly likes. So he has the ceremonialists catalog every gift and send them under each giver's name to orphanages, schools, and neighborhoods beyond the capital walls. Once the presents are carried away, the vast palace feels empty. May turns away for a moment to pour a glass of water. When she turns back, the window seat is empty. An open book sits quietly on the windowsill, its pages stirring in the breeze. The window has been flung wide open, but no one is in the room. Oh no, the prince is gone! Within moments, the entire palace descends into chaos. Guards pour out in full force, combing every corridor and chamber. Selkie breaks into a run, her face growing paler by the second, her mind already racing through every worst-case scenario. She's practically sprinting by the time she reaches the garden. The queen, on the other hand, isn't in a hurry. She sets down her botanical encyclopedia and gazes toward the tallest tree at the center of the courtyard. Try looking up there. The attendants freeze, then crane their necks. Sure enough, a wisp of light-colored hair peeks through the dense canopy and sways gently in the evening breeze. The little prince is curled in a cradle of interlocking branches, the wooden sword, its length greater than his height, clutched to his chest. He's fast asleep. His head droops and bumps gently against the hilt, bobs back up, and then he continues sleeping. The queen laughs. She waves the attendants away, takes off her shoes, and climbs the trunk with practiced ease. She was once a knight in her youth, and her agility hasn't dulled one bit. Within moments, she's seated beside her child. She gently pokes his cheek. Xavier, Xavier, it's time to wake up. The boy opens his eyes slowly. When he sees who it is, there isn't a trace of surprise in his eyes. There's only the drowsiness of someone just roused from sleep. How did you find me? I heard your head bumping against a sword hilt in your sleep. Xavier considers this seriously. This tree isn't very comfortable to lean against. I'll pick a different one next time. His perfectly irrelevant answer makes her laugh. She picks him and the sword up and carries him down from the tree. Relieved, Selkie exhales at the base of the trunk and turns to report to the king. But the queen stops her with a look. She holds the feather-light child in her arms and drapes her own cloak over his shoulders. He doesn't refuse. He nestles his small face into her collar, breathes in her scent, and closes his eyes again. This woman is gonna die. Sorry, y'all. I'm just like, oh yeah, she gonna die. There is tragedy about to happen to this mother. The signs are there. But wrongdoing still calls for an apology. The next day, Xavier stands before the guards, who spent almost all their yesterday searching for him, and bows deeply and sincerely. Yet afterward, he can't help but look to his mother, the confusion in his eyes undiminished. Why did everyone try to look for me? Why do they always have to follow me? And, he pauses, glancing back at the mountain of gifts behind him, his expression growing even more puzzled, why does everyone keep sending me so many gifts? He hasn't done anything special. The queen closes the book in her hands, rests it on her lap, and thinks before meeting her child's gaze. You, the Prince of Philos. She doesn't offer some patronizing comment such as, everyone likes you. People need to place their blessings and their hopes on someone, and you happen to be the person they chose. So they're sending expectations? He asks earnestly. The queen smiles and reaches over to ruffle his hair. What they're sending is whatever they believe to be the best they have to offer. It's just that the best things in their eyes aren't necessarily what you need. The prince is quiet for a while. Then he says, Can I just not accept them? Of course, the queen replies, but there's something you need to understand. It's easy to refuse gifts, but that can't be said about expectations. Right now, those are still blessings. When you grow up, they'll become responsibilities. When that day comes, you'll understand why some people choose to follow you because they need you. Do you dislike having expectations, Xavier? He doesn't shake his head, but he doesn't nod either. At his age, grasping the full weight and meaning of the word expectation is still beyond reach. Outside, the lights of the royal capital flicker to life. Xavier leans against his mother, his eyelids growing heavy. The sword is still held firmly in his arms. The queen looks down at his sleeping face and recalls the astrologer's words. This child is destined to bear the future of Philos. As a mother, she never cared for the prophecies and praises heaped upon her son, but she also knew this was an inescapable part of his fate, something he'll have to face and choose for himself. She pats his back gently and says a single silent sentence. No matter what anyone else thinks, your mother hopes you'll take your time growing up. The words are so quiet that even she can't hear them. Only the evening breeze outside the window carries them away into the encroaching darkness. For Philos, a world that lives on the border of immortality, time has long since lost its marks. 1 year, 2 years, 3, the rise and fall of suns and moons, the passing of seasons, are all but the briefest of instants in this planet's endless span. In his final swordsmanship lesson, the little prince, who once couldn't stand as tall as his wooden sword, has grown into a striking young man. The lesson his instructor wants to teach him today is how to put down the sword. He learned how to hold it, so why must he learn to let go? Xavier doesn't understand. He spent a long time learning to keep the sword from being knocked away. Why would he set it down? A knight must learn to grip his sword, but to become a king, you must learn to lay it down. For courage, duty, and freedom. You won't understand this yet, so consider it your teacher's parting advice. Xavier looks down at the wooden sword in his palm. He knows that once the lesson ends, his instructor will leave the capital to journey elsewhere. As the sun sets, the queen takes Xavier's hand. They stand together at the city gates and watch the distant figure grow smaller until it disappears. Will you miss him? A little. Will I see him again? Maybe. The queen smiles, but from now on, the people you meet will be up to you. Your mother could bring you a teacher, but you'll have to find the friends, mentors, and rivals that come after. They won't appear at your door like birthday presents. She looks into her son's clear, bright gaze. For a reason she can't quite name, a pang of sadness passes, but she forces a smile. Isn't that a little more exciting than unwrapping gifts? I don't want to read about how his mom dies tragically, but we're going to probably end up reading about how his mom dies tragically at some point. This woman is too good. And the worst bit is 10-1, she dies tragically, and then his father goes off the rails, because that's usually how this goes. The woman is the only thing standing between man and his worst nature. Is usually the trope. It really is. With great power comes great responsibility. It has that vibe. It really does. Okay. Chapter 4, Finding the Way. After Xavier grows up, a half-serious saying begins to circulate in the teacher's lounge. Teaching His Highness is the least and most rewarding thing you'll ever do. It's because there's almost nothing you need to explain twice, and at least you survived without being stumped by his questions. The prince completes every important course in the royal curriculum at a pace that leaves his tutors speechless. Star cartography, history, literature, philosophy, military theory, diplomatic etiquette, one after another, are passed with the highest scores. His bearing is impeccable. His speech is measured and graceful. He treats others with a warmth that never oversteps its bounds. Even the diplomats sing his praises in the royal court. In other words, he's become the perfect, qualified heir. Another birthday arrives. The royal capital blazes with light as it always does. Gifts from across the planet line the path from the palace gates to the banquet hall just as they do every year. Ceremonialists log each one. Guards arrange them in careful rows. No one expects this year to be any different. Except someone is missing. Selkie sighs. No one will be smiling at the young prince's side starting this year. No one will watch him unwrap gifts and ask, "Which one will you keep this year, Xavier?" Since the official announcement of the Queen's passing, everyone has tactily avoided the subject. Tacitly avoided the subject. And perhaps because of this, the distance between the crown prince and the king grows wider by the day. Xavier ignores his father's expectations for him to deal with the affairs of state as soon as possible. Instead, he enrolls at the Fairnight Academy, the same school his mother once attended. He even leads squads on his own to purge wanderers entrenched in the forests located at the border. He ventures alone into the lands that grew more remote, more dangerous. Selkie sees it clearly. The protocore energy sustaining the planet is fading. Wanderers multiply unchecked. More bad news flows from every corner of the planet into the capital. And the worse things get, the grander the prince's birthday celebration becomes. As if the brilliant lights could keep the planet just as it always was, forever young, forever flourishing. After returning from a campaign, Xavier doesn't return to his quarters. He follows an old mountain trail into a forest where no one will disturb him. He picks a tree, jumps onto its branches, leans against the rough bark with his sword in his arms, and slowly closes his eyes. Your Highness wins a battle and immediately runs off to slack? The first to find him is Selkie, captain of the Royal Guard. Most people rush home to claim their honors. You climb a tree and take a nap. I'm not slacking, it's just quieter up here. Selkie has already heard from the guards. When the prince returned, he went straight to the king's private hall. The doors stayed shut for the entire afternoon. No one needs to guess. It was another argument. Their ideals are fundamentally at odds. The prince refuses to walk the path his father has laid out for him. Selkie, I fought a battle, and I watched people pave the road with their lives. The prince opens his eyes. It's unclear whether he's speaking to her or to himself. I might not be able to feel what troubles you, Your Highness, but sometimes the first thing a crown prince must learn is to shoulder responsibility. I know it's hard, sometimes a choice that must be made. Xavier opens his eyes and looks quietly at the captain of the Royal Guard, who has watched over him since childhood. Does following Philos's predetermined path mean it can never be wrong? What if that path was paved with lies from the very beginning? Should I keep walking it all the same? Selkie finds herself at a loss for words. Seconds pass in silence before she speaks. Her voice is low. Your Highness, walking a road no one has treaded before is 100 times harder than following in someone else's footsteps. If you choose that, you must be prepared to be torn apart along the way. I will take a drink. Remember to hydrate, children. Chapter 5. Walking Together. It's the annual season for forming clubs at Estria Academy. Now in his second year, Jeremiah is finally in the glorious position of being able to lord his seniority over the incoming freshmen. There's just one problem. When trying to form a club, his booth is as deserted as ever. On the table before him sits a battered old signal spectrum analyzer. A wooden sign hangs in the most prominent spot. Unknown Cosmic Civilizations Club. He accosts every passerby with boundless enthusiasm. It's interesting, right? They say this is an actual artifact from Earth's era. To a crowd of young freshmen, the words Earth's artifact have roughly the same effect as mandatory nap time. After all, planetary history has long held the uncontested top spot on the Academy's list of courses most likely to put you to sleep. Slapping a new label on it doesn't change its soporific nature. As the season nears its end, Jeremiah slumps over the table in the club room. He stares at a stack of application forms that remain stubbornly blank. You couldn't get a single person? Jeremiah looks up, spots Xavier, and his eyes light up for a split second. But his mouth keeps up its bravado. What do you mean? Are you and I not people? I'm just passing through. That still counts as showing up. Jeremiah springs up from his folding chair, grabs Xavier's sleeve, and launches into a rapid-fire pitch. Think about it. Is there any club in this entire school better suited for you? Nobody joins, which means nobody bothers you. The whole room is yours. There's honey milk tea in the fridge, too. I bought it yesterday. Xavier doesn't answer right away. His gaze drifts past Jeremiah's shoulder to the half-dead pothos wilting on the windowsill. Oh, I ran into that girl. She agreed to help me fill the roster. When did you talk to her? It's none of your business. Guess who I saw her chatting with today? The moment Xavier's brows furrow, Jeremiah knows it's now or never. He whips out a crisp, blank application form, slaps it down in front of Xavier, and shoves a pen in his hand. Now you two won't just have swordsmanship practice together. You'll have club stuff to talk about, too. And as club leader, I solemnly swear there won't be mandatory attendance or any forced group activities. What do you say? Oh my God, Jeremiah. I love it. Xavier lowers his head and starts filling out the form and mutters, fine. When he reaches the field labeled reason for joining, he pauses. Jeremiah expects something token like interested in unsolved cosmic mysteries or want to look into unknown signals. Instead, Xavier writes, peace and quiet. At least it's one person, regardless of the reason. So Jeremiah spends his entire lunch break redesigning the club's recruitment poster. To call it redesigning is generous. There's only one change. Xavier's name blown up in large font with a line of small print underneath that reads, current member, Xavier. When the poster goes up, the results are immediate. By evening, Jeremiah has collected over 80 new applications. Oh my God, that's so good. Hey, Nikki, do it for the deli. Oh my God, Jeremiah, I love you so much. So good. How do you solve a problem like no attendance? Get Xavier. That's called a bestie using their bestie to their best advantage. That is fabulous. What's this? Xavier asks when he stops by after class to seek his peace and quiet. Jeremiah glances at it without batting an eye. A recruitment poster. My name is on it, Xavier says. You're a member. Putting members' names on the poster is normal, right? Jeremiah replies, utterly shameless. Xavier continues to look at him with the same calm expression. Jeremiah holds his ground for approximately 3 seconds before averting his gaze. How do I write a withdrawal request? No! Jeremiah latches onto Xavier's arm. I'm sorry, whatever you say goes, just don't quit! Recruit the minimum number, don't go over that. So, when the season ends, the Unknown Cosmic Civilization Club proudly retains its title as the least popular club in the entire academy. Not counting Jeremiah himself, the official roster is as follows. Xavier, who wants peace and quiet. Xavier's Jr., who did this purely out of kindness to help pad the numbers. Sullivan, a hometown acquaintance Jeremiah doesn't know that well. And Hal, a boy who's supposedly interested in all kinds of interstellar planets. A handful of extra applications that Jeremiah didn't manage to destroy in time are quietly stuffed into a drawer. For his birthday this year, Xavier skips the grand banquet at the royal capital once again and walks out of the city alone. His mother's tombstone stands on the hillside east of the capital walls, surrounded by the flowers she loved most when she was alive. Xavier stands before it for a long time, despite knowing there's nothing beneath it. When he finally leaves, the sun is sinking inch by inch below the horizon at the edge of the capital. By the time he returns to the academy, night has fallen. The corridors are oddly, unusually quiet. He pushes open the door to the club room and... Happy birthday! Party poppers burst with a bang and send colorful confetti drifting down from the ceiling. Jeremiah stands at the front holding a cake. The room is packed with people behind him, every face broadcasting the same triumphant message. We got him. Then the air goes perfectly still. Xavier is standing in the doorway, his expression unchanged without so much as a flinch. With party poppers still in hand, the people in the room exchange bewildered glances. Jeremiah's grin freezes. He looks down at the cake, then at Xavier, who's unsurprised. His expression shifts gradually from smug to confused. Xavier thinks, then he takes a step back and gently closes the door. Ready? The people inside are stunned. What? Do it again. A second passes, then there's a flurry of frantic scrambling. Party poppers are raised into position. People shuffle into new spots, and someone whispers about moving the cake forward a little. Another steps on someone else's foot and yelps in pain. Xavier smiles and leans against the wall to wait. Outside the window, the moonlight is bright. Inside, the commotion continues until the door swings open once more. Happy birthday! He lifts his head and looks at the faces before him. These are the people he chose to meet on his own. For the first time in a long while, he remembers what his mother once told him. Thank you, he says. I really like this gift. I love how we start the stream with angst. All right, I'm going to take another sip. I think before we continue, and while I'm sipping some water, we should have some Squirtle sacks. Dance party! Okay. I'm still working on a lad's specific board for us to be able to use. little champ. He's so cute. Isaiah was too busy brooding. Okay, chapter 6, The Last Gift. The royal capital blazes with light. Music from the banquet drifts on the night wind in broken segments. They're filled with the faint sound of laughter and the crisp clinking of glasses. The first time Jeremiah is invited inside the palace is for Xavier's coming-of-age ceremony. He learns a great deal along the way. Star chart murals painted across the vaulted ceilings, relief carved pillars lining every corridor, and even an unassuming vase tucked around a corner could fuel several cultural research papers on its own. As the prince's classmate and friend, he's afforded no small amount of courtesy. A ceremonialist guides him, intentionally slowing down to accommodate Jeremiah's curious gazes. The waiting room is quiet, a world apart from the clamor beyond the palace walls. Xavier stands before a full-length mirror and ignores the ceremonial cloak with golden threads. It's being held aloft by the attendant behind him. According to protocol, it should be draped over his shoulders at the ceremony's conclusion. Instead, he raises his hands and fastens the last button of his formal attire with meticulous precision. Jeremiah is momentarily stunned. His classmate, who dresses so plainly on any given day, is radiant at this moment. And yet his expression is the same as the first time Jeremiah saw him in the club room. An attendant steps forward and tucks a golden flower into his lapel. Jeremiah's eyes drift from the flower to a red velvet tray nearby. On it sits a crown. It isn't the official crown for a coronation ceremony. Even so, this coming-of-age circlet is breathtaking. The silver band is set with stellarite, a gem unique to Philos. It refracts sharp prismatic light beneath the lamps. Jeremiah stares at it for a few seconds. Something unnamed swells in his chest. He still can't tell what his calm friend is thinking. He only feels, without quite knowing why, that after today, his friend won't be quite as free. Jeremiah pushes the feeling down and whispers, "Change of plans. The teacher found the secret base under the library. Damn it, we'll have to meet at the capital's back gate tonight instead. You can slip out, right? Here, your birthday present." Xavier catches it. It's a small badge that's handmade based on its rough finish. Around the edge, the words Unknown Cosmic Civilizations Club are written in small, crooked letters. He turns it over. On the back is a smaller line of text. Vice Captain. Xavier looks at the badge, then slips it into the inner pocket of his formal attire. Thanks. Jeremiah waves him off. Seeing more ceremonial officials filling in and afraid of blowing their cover, he makes his exit. That night, the prince vanishes without a trace. Guards mobilize on command. The entire palace is thrown into high alert in an instant. Every gate, corridor, and entrance is sealed tight. Patrols fan out, searching for the figure who shouldn't have disappeared. Xavier changes out of his formal attire. He dodges a patrol and pushes open the garden door where he runs into Selkie. Selkie, are you going to stop me tonight too? Selkie doesn't answer. She looks up at him. Your Highness, you know that once this choice is made, there's no turning back, right? Then she sheaths her sword and produces a small, finely crafted wooden box from behind her. She's been waiting for this day. This was left for you by Her Majesty the Queen. Before she passed, she prepared this gift herself. She asked that it be delivered to you in person on the day of your coming-of-age ceremony. Upon hearing the word Queen, something in his expression finally shifts, if only slightly. Xavier takes the box. Selkie watches him, bows, and leaves the young prince. Xavier unclasps the copper latch and lifts the lid. Against the dark velvet lining lies a small brass key that glows with a warm, muted luster in the dim light. Beside it is a letter. The handwriting on the envelope is his mother's. He picks it up and unfolds it. Dear Xavier, my darling boy, by the time you read this, you'll be an adult. Taller than your father, I imagine. Have you finally put on the uniform meant for the crown prince? Or perhaps you'll be wearing that heavy crown. Regardless, you're still the little boy who hugged his training sword and snuck up into the trees to sleep in your mother's heart. Sometimes I think it'd be nice if I could still be there with you. Oh, I'm gonna cry and I'm not gonna make it through this letter. I want to watch you grow little by little. Hear what you learned today. What questions you asked your teachers. I want to hold you when you're tired and tell you that you don't have to carry everything alone. Oh, I'm not gonna make it. Hold on, give me a sec, I'm okay. Oh, I'm breathing. I'm breathing. I'm okay. Okay. Oh, we're gonna do this. We're gonna make it through 15 fucking pages. Okay, we're gonna do this. But life doesn't always give us what we wish for. So I left all the words I never got to say in this letter. Over the years, you must have received many gifts, but the present I want to give you today isn't an expectation. It's freedom. Starting today, the observatory on the west side of the capital belongs to you. The key is in the envelope. You don't have to tell anyone. When you're happy, you can go there. When you're in pain, you can go there too. Even if you don't want to do anything at all, you can sit and watch the stars there. That's perfectly fine. It'll be a place that belongs only to Xavier. I hope you become a wonderful person. I believe you'll be a wonderful king. But before any of that, you must become someone who knows how to love himself. I hope no one will lose faith in you because you pause to rest. From now on, whenever night falls and you look up at the sky, I'm okay. Okay. I'm okay. From now on, whenever night falls and you look up at the sky, if one star happens to shine a little brighter than the rest, I'm breathing. Pretend it's your mother watching over you. And I hope you'll always know that there's someone in this world who loved you without reservation. I'll always love you. Sincerely, Mother. I'm gonna take a drink of water. Okay, I'm okay. Group hug, everybody! Hi, Binksy. Are you here because you care, or are you here because you want treats? There you go. Treats for Binksy. Hi, baby. I know, hi. I'm just reading a story. Ah, okay. Okay, I'm okay. Uh-huh. I'm not okay. Okay. Xavier stares at the letter for a long time before folding it along its original creases and tucking it back into the envelope. Outside the door, the lights beyond the palace walls burn at their peak. The entire corridor is as bright as day. Guests chatter, the orchestra's music, and the ceremonialist's loud announcements blur together into an overly grand ceremony. Xavier grips the sword in his hand and looks at the captain of the royal guard. Selkie meets the gaze of the crown prince she watched grow up. Then, without a word, she takes a step back and turns to the side to clear a path. I still believe you can forge a path different from your father's, Your Highness. Philos will have a better future because of you. Thank you, Selkie. Selkie watches his retreating figure and, for a fleeting moment, thinks he looks no different from the little prince who used to walk out of the classroom with a book in his arms or out of the training ground with a sword. Only this time, the direction has changed. He turns away from the brightly lit corridor and slips into a darker path. There are no street lamps on this road. No guests are lined up and waiting. There are no ceremonialists calling out titles. There's only the night wind, the stars growing clearer. The stars growing clearer overhead, and him. Xavier walks faster. The hem of his knight's coat lifts in the wind. Behind him, the blazing palace shrinks inch by inch. The symphonic clamor fades into a faraway hum. The footsteps of the patrols surge towards every corner of the palace from all directions and merge into a low, continuous tremor. Xavier doesn't stop. He moves through familiar corridors, climbs the stone steps, and arrives at a silent observatory on the western side of the palace. He passes through the quiet archive room, ascends the spiral staircase, and reaches the old iron door at the back. He takes the key from his pocket, slides it into the lock, and gently turns it. It opens with a click. The hinges let out a low, drawn-out groan. The night air rushes in, carrying the scent of trees, earth, and fresh grass. Xavier looks up. Here, the capital's towering walls break apart at one corner. This is a path few people know about, and it winds from behind the observatory and disappears into the forest. He watches it quietly for a few seconds, then he takes the first step. In the forest beyond the walls, Jeremiah and the others are starting to get anxious. Where is he? Don't tell me His Majesty actually arrested him. I told you we should have come up with a backup plan. Now what? I don't know. You don't have a backup plan, Jeremiah? Adventure is all about throwing caution to the wind. Then they turn and there's Xavier. Every face lights up. Everyone's here? Then I hereby declare that the Backtrackers, formerly known as the Unknown Cosmic Civilization Club, founded by yours truly, officially begins its first cosmic adventure. Jeremiah, can you keep your voice down? Are you trying to summon the guards? Do you not understand the concept of ceremony? All right, everyone shut up. Captain, when do we leave? Xavier looks at them. The lantern's light plays across faces, barely containing their excitement. Jeremiah holds up a crumpled little banner with the word Backtracker, scrawled across it in uneven handwriting. It was clearly thrown together at the last minute. They don't know what lies ahead. Neither does he. Xavier smiles. He has to admit this is the birthday on which he received the most gifts. Right now, he says. And so the group pushes open the door and rushes into the night. The path is still dark and long. There's only starlight, each other, and a road whose end they can't yet see. But not a single one of them looks back. I did it! I was doing great until the mom's letter. Then I died. Oh my god, that was tragic. Ugh. I feel like we've hit a certain theme. Oh, good night, Frostmere. Great. Is that Zayne? Oh, shit. I don't know if... Holy crap. Well, we're just in the Eggs town. Oh my god. But holy crap, that's so cool. So the Backtrackers were born out of a school club that they put together. That's such a neat little tidbit. And it's so Jeremiah. Like, Jeremiah just was perfect. Like, Jeremiah is... I'm not going to make it through Goodnight Frostmere. No, I'm going to cry. This is going to turn into the crying stream. I've accepted this. I've accepted my fate. The Jeremiah continues to be one of my favorite NPCs. I love how shameless he is about using Xavier. But here's the thing that I love about it. Jeremiah is fully aware that Xavier is the Crown Prince. He understands the class difference between the two of them. But I feel like part of the joy of the friendship between the two is that Jeremiah knows when to treat Xavier as Xavier. Not the Crown Prince, not, you know, His Royal Highness, but as just a regular human being. Just as a guy. Just, you know, they're just buddies at school doing a thing. And I think that Xavier really sincerely appreciates that, considering the level of ceremonial deference and also what we can read from Isaiah's attitude about the royal families and the nobles. Like, classism is real and hard in Philos. And Xavier just doesn't want any part of that nonsense at all. So I think he gravitates to Jeremiah because Jeremiah knows when to turn it off. He'll play the part that he needs to play when other people are around, but when it's just the two of them, Jeremiah knows how to drop all the bullshit and let Xavier just be Xavier. Yeah, I think he grounds Xavier a lot, which I think is super important. And I love that Sullivan was there from the beginning as one of the earlier ones, and Hal. We got a few names. We got a few names. So yes. All right. Let us continue this angst train. Good night, Frostmere. Oh my god. Oh. Chapter 1. News. Good morning. The joint rescue mission at the site of the recent geological and meteorological disaster in the Arctic town Frostmere has ended. As of this moment, there have been... Someone changes the channel. The broadcast stutters for a few seconds before the anchor's voice continues. That heavy number has been skipped. Deaths. 53 people are still missing. The TV is turned off. Outside, a breeze stirs. Clouds briefly veil the sun, which dims the room. The dark screen reflects a haggard face with stubble. Grayson remains frozen as he's turning off the TV. In this silence, he recalls how not long ago he was fretting that his baby face looked too young. Yvonne had teased him earlier. A baby face keeps you looking young. Or would you rather have features ravaged by work? When he steps outside, the wind carries the clouds, and sunlight grows bright once more. Having missed the morning rush hour, the subway station is almost empty. Grayson has just taken a seat when a jarring electronic voice blares through the quiet car. A once-in-a-millennium event, folks. The Arctic magnetic field anomaly triggered a glacial canyon collapse and an extremely cold downdraft, the true culprit behind Frostmere's disaster. The sound cuts off abruptly. He glances over. At the far end of the bench, a passenger fumbles to turn down their phone's speaker volume. Grayson inadvertently catches a glimpse of their screen. There's a news headline in glaring red. It's impossible to ignore. Only when the subway reaches his stop does he realize he's been holding his breath the entire time. Axco Hospital is as busy as ever. When Grayson gets off the elevator, he spots Yvonne striding briskly down the corridor. They exchange a hurried glance in passing, and a conversation from the elevator resurfaces in his memory. Beside himself and Yvonne, there had been another person, a patient Dr. Zayne had practically dragged in, an Arctic hunter who was always glued to his phone. He was unable to go 3 sentences without saying, "Let me head back." At some point, the TV in the waiting area was switched to the news channel. Despite the surrounding noise and his best efforts to avoid it, fragments of the broadcast still pierce through the clamor and burrow into his mind. Due to the anomalous magnetic fluctuations in the Arctic and the destabilized ice sheet triggering a chain reaction, the affected area experienced a flash flood at approximately 2 p.m. that day. It was followed by extreme temperatures plunging to negative 50 degrees Celsius. "Grayson, you're back from the Arctic?" A colleague from a neighboring division passes by and spots him. A flicker of surprise crosses their face. Before they can continue, a patient's family member cuts in. "Excuse me, doctor, why aren't there any appointments available with Dr. Zayne? When is he coming back to work?" Grayson looks away. He hasn't changed into his white coat yet, which spares himself from the barrage of questions. His colleague stays behind, scratching their head awkwardly as they explain, "Dr. Zayne is on a business trip. I'm not sure exactly when he'll return." Grayson crosses the waiting area and retreats to his own office. Grayson has just returned to Lincoln City from the Frostmere rescue mission. His phone, the TV, the internet, news alerts are everywhere. They're relentlessly updating coverage of the Arctic disaster from several days ago. He turns on his computer and takes a deep breath. He recalls how Zayne always remained composed in the face of such incidences. He wants to suppress the weight pressing down on his chest, and the fear. He logs into the system and pulls up the files. As a member of the medical support team during the rescue operation, he must now confront the heaviest chapter of this nightmare, writing death reports for the victims and the rescue workers who never made it back. Oh yeah, this set an amazing tone. This is going to be a fun story. Chapter 2, Relocation. Among the many tourist towns scattered across the Arctic, Frostmere can only be classified as ordinary. Situated at the end of a glacial canyon, the town has a small population. In the eyes of discerning travelers, its scenery is nothing remarkable. It's typically a backup choice for those who failed to secure reservations for the popular resorts in Snowcrest. Its redeeming feature lies 20 kilometers away, a glacial lake nestled in the lower part of the canyon. It's like a cold mirror the gods cast down to reflect the world. Each year, when it's peak tourist season, visitors will flock in like migratory birds, only to scatter just as swiftly once it ends. With the new year approaching, this year's holiday preparations carry an unusual weight. According to monitoring results from the Arctic Hunters Association, the magnetic field in the region has been displaying anomalies. So as a safety precaution, the townspeople will be evacuated. The last group will relocate to a different area after the new year. We narrowly escaped the chaos in 2034 and that incident at Mount Eternal a few years back. Inside the town's tavern, the patrons show little sign of anxiety despite the ongoing evacuation. Trust the association, follow the hunters, and everything will be fine. Everyone believes the Hunters Association will handle it like before. The speaker winks at Jerome. Jerome? Yeah, we're going to call him Jerome. The only Arctic hunter present, and the others give him a unanimous thumbs up. Jerome waves his hand bashfully. Thank you for your cooperation, everyone. Really, thank you. The conversation soon drifts elsewhere. Jerome rises from his seat, exchanges farewells with a few familiar faces, and leaves the tavern. The biting wind that greets him scatters the warm flush of alcohol from his cheeks. Rummaging through a cardboard box for the New Year's string lights, the tavern owner stands by the entrance. Drone walks over and claps the man on the shoulder. Busy? This is the last time we'll be spending the New Year's here. Gotta have the right atmosphere at least. The owner slowly untangles the string lights from the box of miscellaneous items. Drinks are on me today. Jerome blinks before breaking into a grin. You're too kind. And here I thought you'd stay behind with the last group just to squeeze out another bit of profit. Business is all about strategy. Besides, you're one of us. You've helped this town over the years, and you only just got back from recovering from that injury. Perhaps realizing that bringing it up is still upsetting, the owner cuts himself short. But his gaze lingers on Jerome's leg. Noticing the look, Jerome shifts his stance. The new prosthetic bone in his leg works well. Its power is even better than before, actually. Shrugging, he takes the string of lights and helps hang it along the doorframe. It comes with being a hunter. Avoiding a few bumps and scrapes is impossible. The magnetic field has been unstable lately, and the weather's been changing. Some tourists who came through mentioned they found something in the glacier. The remains of some massive ancient creature. We've already issued a notice. That area is still under investigation. Don't worry, if anything serious comes up, the association will step in. And you'll be the first in line, Jerome. The owner teases before continuing. People are just speculating. They think it might be connected to the recent fluctuations in the Deepspace tunnel. He pauses as if recalling something. Over a decade ago, back in 34, there was something similar. They said they found signs of ancient activity in the glacier. The magnetic field went crazy, and everyone was on high alert for ages. Your association looked like they were bracing for the worst. Then it just ended. Same thing happened with Mount Eternal. The situation seemed critical, but in the end, nothing came of it. Daddy! Oh, Uncle Jerome is here too. A child wearing a red coat bounces over like a rubber ball until she lands in front of the two men. Jerome ruffles the girl's hair. We haven't seen each other in ages, huh? I've been downgraded. The child's eyes dart mischievously as she launches a preemptive strike. Uncle Jerome still owes me a trip to see the snow velvet, but when we got close to the cliff, you said you couldn't go any further. Uncle Jerome is a scaredy cat. Oh, God, please don't let this child die. The tavern owner gently brushes the snowflakes off the child's coat. Uncle Jerome was looking out for you. That doesn't make him a scaredy cat. Besides, snow velvet is rare. There's only a little growing on the north cliff of Mount Eternal, and it's dangerous. Didn't something just happen there recently? You tried to sweet talk Uncle Jerome for that? We didn't even go. We just looked from a distance and left. Nikki, they legit was like, it's a child. She's in a red coat. And you know what I think? I think the red shoes from Resident Evil 2. That's what I think. Okay? I was like, oh, she's sweet, she's cute, she's gonna die. Like, that's just where my brain took it. Mom dies, sweet child dies, everyone's dying on this stream. Just tragedy all around. At least we're not gonna chimera her into a dog. I'm gonna take a sip of water. We do, we know the death flags, Clay. Not wrong. Love and grief space, everybody. It's love and grief space. Jerome finishes a hair clip from his pocket and waves it in front of the child. His smile softens. I didn't forget about you while I was away. How's this for a peace offering? You know, snow velvet looks exactly like this pom-pom. The child accepts the gift with delight. Quietly relieved she didn't ask how he's seen real snow velvet. Jerome pats her head. He can hardly tell her that in Lincoln, a stone-faced doctor once tried to save a pot of them and seemingly failed. Children don't usually care about stories without happy endings. Nearby, the little girl chatters with her father about something. Jerome gazes into the distance. Most of the town has relocated. The remaining residents still fill the air with noise. At first, he dismisses it as typical hustle and bustle. Then the clamor grows heavier, thicker, like it's drowning out even the dim from the inside the tavern. It can't be the people. His prosthetic sensors relay a delayed tremor. He tears off his gloves, presses his palm to the ground, and then snaps his head up. A deep rumble is already rolling toward them from afar. His hunter's watch shrieks. He lost both his legs the last time he heard an alarm like this. Warning! A breach in the glacier lake has been detected 20 kilometers away. Floodwaters are arriving in 15 minutes. Magnetic fluctuations had delayed the disaster by 20 minutes. Now the guillotine finally falls. As I said, the child dies. Y'all looked at me like I was crazy. Oh, look, the adorable child and her father die. Right, it's just the death flags are there. Chapter 3. Blessing. Like a dream shattering without warning, panic seeps through the air. Amid the overlapping screams and blaring alarms, the girl barely grasps what's happening before she's swept into her father's arms. His hands tremble, but Uncle Jerome's voice remains steady. Floodwaters are coming. Get to high ground, don't drive, and stay out of the basements. Her father carries her, and they're swept along by the tide of bodies. She cranes her neck and strains to look at where Uncle Jerome stood. That familiar figure is moving against the crowd. The Arctic wind, laced with stinging snow, carries his frantic shouts. Everyone stay calm. Head for the mining tower, the bell tower. The first wave of people to receive the warning split into two streams. One surges toward the old mining tower beside the edge of the canyon. The other flows toward the bell tower at the heart of town. Hi, May. You've joined right as the tragedy hits. Excellent timing. It's seconds only to the mining town in height. In 2 days, that tower was supposed to ring this town's final blessing before the relocation at the stroke of midnight. She tears her gaze away and realizes she's still clutching the pom-pom hair clip Uncle Jerome gave her. The one that supposedly looks exactly like snow velvet. As one of the Arctic's rarest flowers, legends about them have always drifted across the tundra. One of them speaks of the simplest blessing, life and good fortune. "Don't worry, Daddy," she says as she clumsily pats her father's pale cheek. "The snow velvet will bless us." At 7:34 p.m., Grayson fastens his seatbelt inside the helicopter. The deafening roar of the rotors becomes the opening note of this operation. The cabin is silent. Rescue missions always feel like fractures torn into ordinary life, but Grayson is accustomed to this rhythm. By the time his afternoon surgery ended, night had already fallen. He barely managed to get in a few bites of his cold-boxed meal before the call came. The rumors swirling about wanderer mutations and a grand eradication of life had yet to produce any real consequences, but even within Axo Hospital, Grayson sensed the subtle shift. More patients, never enough hands. The Hunters Association was running past its capacity. After Dr. Zayne left, the burden he once shouldered alone now rested on everyone's shoulders. Only then did people belatedly realize just how much Dr. Zayne had been carrying. It's more than any of them ever imagined. Dark red tactical lights flicker inside the cabin. Static crackles through the headsets as the comms channel opens. "All units, please listen to me. I'm your team leader, and I'll be giving you your mission briefing." A tablet, its brightness maxed out, is passed from hand to hand. The satellite imagery on the screen shows their destination. "Our destination is Frostmere. At approximately 2 p.m., a breach in the glacier lake triggered a flash flood. Over 300 people were affected. The first Arctic Hunter rescue team arrived on site around 3:30 p.m., but all contact was lost due to the magnetic field anomalies and signal interference. Lincoln City has received a request from the Arctic Emergency Command Center to dispatch medical support. All contact lost." The Arctic is unforgiving. Everyone knows exactly what those words imply. The briefing is certainly brief. "Everyone, close your eyes. Rest. Conserve your energy." If Dr. Zayne were leading this mission, he'd probably say a few more words to calm everyone. The thought surfaces unbidden in Grayson's mind. Some time ago, Zayne had submitted his resignation to the hospital director. His explanation had been vague and only mentioned that he was going away for a while. But Grayson had a nagging sense that it was somehow a continuation of something else. Before joining Axo Hospital, Zayne served with the Evolve Special Rescue Unit during the Mountain Eternal incident when the magnetic field there underwent a dangerous change. The situation was significant enough that even Grayson heard about it. After Zayne returned from Mount Eternal, he practically wrestled an Arctic hunter into becoming a patient. Grayson still remembers seeing the snow velvet that had been rescued alongside him. It sat on Zayne's desk. That flower didn't survive. It's a shame. The pang of wistfulness is quickly swallowed by a rising tide of exhaustion. He can't afford to keep thinking. The team leader is right. Once they arrive, every second will count. This is humanity pitted against a natural disaster. And until then, every ounce of energy must be conserved. After what feels like an eternity, the team leader's voice crackles along the comms channel once more. "You'll be arriving in 30 minutes. The latest intel from the command center confirms that the target zone was hit by a secondary disaster around 5 p.m., a cold downdraft. The temperatures have plunged below negative 42 degrees Celsius. Everyone follow proper protection protocols. Don't let hypothermia get to you." The team leader doesn't say it outright, but Grayson knows. Everyone has already braced for the worst. Chapter 4. Mending. Jerome brings up the rear of the panicked crowd and pulls back a few people still desperate to retrieve their belongings. He hoists an elderly man with bad legs onto his back and races toward the bell tower. His prosthetic bones dampen the muscle strain and stress fractures that would normally come from intense exertion. It's just enough to make the most of this narrow window before disaster strikes. The rumbling grows louder. From deep within the canyon, the wind shrieks like something is alive. The magnetic field interference intensifies. His hunter's watch keeps displaying the word connecting. It's frozen on the last alert from the nearest hunter outpost. The air is thick with dirt and snow. Breathing burns his lungs. Drone pushes against the gale and guides the last person in sight through the bell tower doors. Pain stabs his heart and he gasps. He almost retches. On the steps, his leg buckles and he almost falls forward. Someone hesitantly steadies him. A voice, close yet distant, reaches his ears. Jerome, are you okay? He raises a hand and forces himself to smile, the same carefree grin as always, but his voice has gone hoarse. I'm fine. The bell tower is packed. What was once the heart of the town's blessings is now crammed with terror. Drone sits on the steps, a dull ache radiating from where his prosthetic bones meet flesh. He's a hunter. He should always be first in line, but now he remembers that he too is only human. Drone, are we supposed to wait here? Will anyone come? A trembling voice reaches him. He gulps, clearing his throat. The nearest hunter outpost is only 70 kilometers away. They'll be here soon. Don't worry. Jerome has seen his share of injuries. His legs were replaced with prosthetic bones. A cryozena was implanted in his heart. The association had initially decided against adding him to the emergency operations standby roster, yet here he is, exactly where he's needed the most. The flood waters are coming. Everyone spread out. Don't crowd together. Find the iron pillars. Anchor yourselves. Under Jerome's direction, people latch themselves to the bell tower's railings. They grab one another's hands or lock arms to stay steady. They find anchor points to brace against the coming impact. Jerome remains at the outmost edge of the crowd where the ground is at its lowest. The earth begins to tremble. Somewhere in the crowd, a child's wails rises, which is amplified many times over by the bell tower's acoustics. Jerome thinks of the tavern owner and his daughter, who had parted ways with him earlier. He wonders if they made it. Everyone breathe in and hold on. His roar dissolves into the deafening impact of wind and metal like a lighthouse's final warning before the tsunami strikes. The floodwaters slam into the bell tower. Thankfully, every structure is built to endure trial after trial in the Arctic. Water sprays upward and freezes into shards of ice. They strike the bronze bell with a sharp, almost crystalline crack before bursting into a veil of frost that swallows everything. The flood passes, and before the silence can settle, hope arrives. The rescue team. The hunters are here to save us. Jerome exhales. At last, he lets his body relax. He slumps against the wall as he finds his breath again. Sunlight breaks through the clouds and refracts off the ice and snow. There's a rainbow. It's like the day he was discharged from Axo after being practically kidnapped to Lincoln City by that stone-faced doctor. Everyone stay calm. The situation is still unstable. Maintain order and let the elderly and children evacuate first. His voice is ragged and he pauses. I'll stay until everyone's gone. Chapter 5. Good night. Many days have passed since then. The death toll across Frostmere and the surrounding area is staggering. Night has fallen when Grayson opens the final document. Post-mortem examination and death certificate. It bears the hunter's unique biosignature and name. Jerome. The last time Grayson had seen that name was during his cryozena implant surgery. Dr. Zayne had been the lead surgeon. Grayson himself was the surgical assistant. It was unexpected, yet it also wasn't. When the rescue team handed over these files, one of them was already sobbing uncontrollably. A calmer teammate removed his protective helmet and spoke in a low voice. The last hunter on the bell tower had grasped the dangling ladder when a sudden downdraft tore the ropes. The helicopter lurched like a scrape of paper caught in the gale. They fought desperately to reel in the ladder, but in the end, they couldn't grab the hands that had already let go. His energy was spent. Grayson fills in each blank field one by one. He's methodical and precise. The condition upon discovery, description of clothing, external examination, injury documentation, inferred cause of death, the determined cause of death. Unlike the others, Jerome's previously implanted TA cryozena continued to function even in the extreme cold. It provided support to his heart and drove it to pump at a high frequency. This kept the thermoregulator center active when it should have shut down from hypothermia. Yet it simultaneously accelerated his body's heat loss to twice the normal rate. This was fate at its cruelest. While others succumbed to the cold and drifted into the warm delirium of hypothermic dreams, the cryozena's continued operation tore him away from that mercy. He was forced to face the brutal punishment of the freezing temperatures in absolute, agonizing clarity. Grayson takes a deep breath, reviews everything with a calm professionalism, and affixes his electronic signature. Work is finished. After hesitating for a long time, he sends Zayne a message about the rescue mission. He types the last word, sets down his phone, and doesn't expect an immediate reply. But in the chat, typing appears. That word somehow puts him at ease. After a long wait, it disappears. Zayne calls him. Dr. Zayne, how have you been? Everyone in the division keeps worrying about you, even if they won't say it out loud. Grayson speaks once the call connects. His voice carries a slight rasp, or perhaps he's afraid his emotions might break through. The voice on the other end speaks. If you're still struggling, there's a bench in the south corner of the garden outside the inpatient building. It's in one of the security camera's blind spots. You can cry there for a bit. Grayson pauses, caught off guard. You cried in that spot, Dr. Zayne? No. That's where I go to watch the sunrise whenever a surgery doesn't end well. Yes, the sun will always rise the next day, but some will never see it again. The longer you practice medicine, the more you understand that death's cruelest edge lies in the small specific losses. You can let yourself cry tonight, or wait until dawn and watch the sunrise for them. Make sure to actually watch it. Something in Grayson finally gives way. Shit, I was doing good. I was doing so good. Okay. Something in Grayson finally gives way. Oh. I can't do the sentence. He weeps openly and doesn't hold back. By the time the call ends, he realizes that he forgot to ask Zayne when he would return to Axo Hospital. On second thought, maybe it doesn't matter. Whether Zayne comes back or not, he still has to keep walking one step at a time. It's past midnight, yet the hospital building remains ablaze with light. Grayson shuts his office door and looks up at the TV in the waiting area, where the news cycles through updates from the disaster site. There's a miracle of life. A survivor with vital signs was discovered in the ruins of Frostmere. A girl, approximately 7 years old, was found wrapped in thick clothing by several deceased adults. They used their own bodies to shield her from the bitter cold and spared her from the initial onset of hypothermia. It allowed her to slip into a deep coma. At the time of discovery, she was in what medical professionals call a state of suspended animation. The footage cuts to the scene. Grayson exhales softly, but he left the Arctic. Before he left the Arctic, the girl had already been stabilized. When they first detected her vital signs, she was still unconscious and cocooned in the victim's embrace. She clutched a pom-pom hair clip like a talisman. The new year is almost here. Time pushes people forward, and the weight in their hearts slowly settles. A string of messages light up his phone. They were sent by his crush, who's on a mission. Good evening. How was your day? Remember to eat properly. Your health comes first. Just wrapped up today's mission. S-rank wanderer. A few teammates got hurt, but thanks to you guys, everything's stable now. I'm going to get some rest. Tomorrow night's my shift. P.S. You don't have to reply if you're busy. Just get back to me when you can. Grayson reads each word carefully and imagines the voice behind them. Before long, his screen lights up again. Rest well. I'm here. Take water. Shit. Oh, we're gonna get to the end of this, kids. We're gonna do it. Okay. They got me. His footsteps ease as the city still remembers. For those who return late, the day hasn't ended yet. There's still time to say goodnight. He glances at the corner of his screen. 3:37 a.m. In about 3 hours, the sun will rise and morning will come. He will watch, truly watch, the sunrise after a long night. Thank you for my diamonds. I fucking hate it. Blood diamonds for my tears. Fuck you, Infold. Jesus. Okay. Chapter story 27 says a fairy tale, and I don't fucking trust it. I legitimately don't trust it. Not after these two. Mad Kitty. The next one's much better, I think. Okay. Oh, I don't have any tissues. Okay. Raffykins, is this you? I need my Raffy. I need some sassy Raffy. Okay. So, story 27. A fairy tale. Chapter 1. Sorry, I had to swallow. Chapter 1. The first thread. In the ocean's depths lies a place closer to the heart of the planet than even the deepest seabed. It's Deepspace's most tender secret, the Dream Weaving Bureau. A baby dream weaver, axolotl, with shiny round eyes, watches his mother intently and tries his best to mimic her movements by waving the 6 fluffy, feathery fins on either side of his head. These soft fins will one day become nimble shuttles for combing through the universe's thoughts. But for now, their master has no interest in using them for such a purpose. When Mother isn't looking, the baby dream weaver sneaks off to chase the fish darting between the seagrass. Meanwhile, his mother, a dream weaver perpetually bathed in a gentle soft light, weaves. Each unfurling and folding of her feathery fins moves with the rhythm of a wandering bard regardless of the dream she crafts. Puzzled, the baby watches his mother. This work brings him no joy whatsoever, yet Mother always has a tender smile. Mother, I don't want to weave anymore. The baby dream weaver droops his head. These words have been stuck in his throat for days, and now they finally tumble out. All right. As if she had known her son would resist his innate gift long ago, she calmly smiles. You can rest for a while. Once I find the most beautiful threads, you'll love this role. No! The baby dream weaver shakes his head fiercely, his feathery fins flaring. He's the angriest a dream weaver can possibly be. I don't want to weave, and I don't want Mother to weave either. It's not fun. Why must we sit and weave these dreams? Why can't we swim freely like the other sea creatures? Sighing softly, Mother gathers her little one into her arms. A little fish slips away as a gentle voice whispers in the baby's ear. Once upon a time, the ocean and deep space were one. It was an age before life was created. A boundless ocean cradled the slumbering earth, and the world was but a silent dream. The waters were warm, the sky hung low, and the continents, shy as children, would only peek their foreheads above the waves every now and then. Sunlight could reach the deepest depths. It nourished those first, most delicate breaths upon the seabed. And alongside those faint, fragile pulses, we came into being. Perhaps it was at dusk or at dawn. In any case, It was when the blue-violet sky blushed pink at the edges. Our very first ancestor floated in the water. With every fiber of his being, he listened to that primordial silence. And then he saw it. A strand of pure green. Neither a water current, nor light or sound. It was woven from countless tiny, shimmering motes. Soft as silk threads, they brushed against every inch of his skin. This thread carried the most primal and genuine of feelings. Joy under the sun and longing for the flowing of water. Our ancestor was consumed with curiosity. Gently, tentatively, he reached out with his feathery fins to touch that thread. The baby Dreamweaver holds his breath, his eyes akin to the full moon. A miracle happened, my dear child, when his feathery fins combed through that thread. The tangled feelings were gently guided. The scattered motes of light began to dance, and before his eyes unfurled a tapestry so beautiful that it made his heart tremble. Seagrass was woven into forests. Tiny creatures darted past. Some were restless and others were peaceful and warm, as if a pair of eyes were watching these lives come into being. This is how it all started. We learned to catch those wandering, fragile emotional ripples drifting through the universe. We spin them into silk, weave them into visions, and cast dreams that soothe chaos and bring about peace. Mother, where did the first thread come from? No one knows, my child. No one knows. Perhaps it was the mingled, hazy feelings of every tiny life in the ocean that stirred upon birth. Or it was the murmur of one paramecium in a distant lake. Maybe it was a sigh whispered by Deepspace in the midst of a dream. In any case, those threads have always been there, always waiting. We learned to listen and weave them. The baby Dreamweaver pulls his feathery fins, their tips now flushed a rosy red, in front of his eyes. He gently rubs them with his tiny claws. He's rarely ever this quiet. Chapter 2. Colors of the Cambrian Period. The rosy flush slowly fades from the baby's feathery fins, and they return to their usual pinkish white. The little Dreamweaver edges forward as if to try again, but he pulls back at the last moment. With his head lowered, he quietly asks, "Mother, what happened next? How did the threads become what they are now?" Gone is the whining from before. Only pure curiosity remains. Mother's eyes shimmer with a gentle, dancing light. Before we get to that, my child, we have a long story that must be told. She guides her little one through the glowing seagrass. They drift upward to a place the sunlight can still reach, and they settle upon a great giant clam adorned with beautiful blue frilled edges. The world around them is lively. After that first thread was woven into a green forest, some 180 billion moonsets before our time, in an age that stones themselves remember as the Cambrian era, this world, silent for a long time, awakened seemingly overnight. The ocean, our eternal home, transformed into a wondrous, teeming paradise. Countless beings never before took on forms beyond our wildest imaginations. Every shape you could ever dream of appeared in those days. Every color you could behold bloomed. The baby's feathery fins excitedly fluttered, as bright lights flashed from his eyes. That must have been lively. Indeed, but it was also infinitely more complex. A new creature brought feelings never felt before, so our threads bloomed into countless hues, Green was for life, but there were the gray-blue for fading, the orange-red of hunger, when a hunter first tasted prey, and the white of fear from those who fled. In the struggle for claiming territory, black threads of fury clashed in the undertow, and in the search for a mate, ribbons of pastel bliss rippled through the currents. Mother looks down at her baby's 6 feathery fins. They unfurled without him noticing and tremble ever so slightly. Her smile becomes gentler. The ocean became a boiling, churning dye house woven from countless vivid hues. More threads appeared, the thick layers so tangled that our feathery fins alone could no longer comb through all those colorful threads. Thus, through countless generations of listening and trying, we evolved. With the slender, delicate tips of her feathery fins adorned with countless tiny, sensitive filaments, she gently brushes the fuzzy ends of her baby's fins. The little one shudders. See these soft, downy fibers? Each one is the keenest of weaving needles. They trace life's pulse into dreams for the sleeping. That was our first true flourishing, my child. The wisdom to perceive, granted to us when the universe was born, made us the most focused, most faithful witnesses to the carnival of life. In those days, we lived in vast creative joy and weaved the most beautiful tapestries the world had ever seen. The giant clam begins to snore, and a bubble rises. It carries within it a saffron yellow thread that floats up and becomes intertwined around the baby's fuzzy fins. It tickles, and the little dream weaver giggles. For the first time, he thinks that maybe dream weaving isn't that bad. Oh, hello, Lunita! Thank you for the follow. Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad you found us and you're loving the content. There's so much to discover in the game. So, I'm glad we found another one to share it with. Chapter 3, A Long Night. The giant clam's snoring slowly fades, and those bubbles wrapped in saffron yellow threads drift apart and pop one by one. The baby dream weaver is still lost in the splendor of the Cambion era. What happened next, Mother? He lifts his head, his eyes shining with the thirst for knowledge. Why can't we see those soft threads anymore? The gentle light in Mother's eyes dim for a second, but he doesn't notice. She draws her little one closer. The giant clam awakens, shaking its great body as it swims away. Together, mother and child sink once more into the depths of the sea. Very few lives can stay the same forever, my child. Likewise, only some beautiful songs repeat a single note. Ages passed, and many of our dreamy tapestries overflowed and flourished. Our sensitive synapses grew accustomed to the softness of those threads. Mother parts the darkness to reveal a mass of tangled threads. A suffocating, murky dark green, marbled with charred black and scarred by red streaks, like the raw marks left by sharp rocks against skin. And then, a long night descended. It was a wail that swept across the entire planet. It rose from the ocean's howl, every breath of the air, every shudder of the earth. Dreams were no longer filled with joy, sorrow, or or fear. There was only suffocation. It were as if the world had turned to thick, viscous tar, and all life struggled in vain. Invisible flames spread from the seabed and scorched the foundations upon which all living things depended on. An endless void made the threads sprout agonizing thorns. Many vanished in that night. They never woke up. They no longer dreamed. In other words, their entire species found an eternal rest. We called it an eradication of civilization. Death was no longer a ripple stirring every now and then in the river of life. It was a grand eradication that silenced the land and returned the ocean to stillness. Good night, little champ. Joy's light flickered out. The baby Dreamweaver's wide eyes hold nothing but shock and fear. Then what did we do? We wove, my child. Mother's voice remains soft and calm. We had no choice but to weave. It is our mission. Even as the flame of one species was extinguished forever, those who remained still fought to survive. Thread by thread, strand by strand, we gathered what we could and tried to channel the howling and the agony into something the world could bear. We wove terrible, twisted nightmares in hopes they could hold the despair. Maybe they wouldn't tear apart the fabric of reality. She falls silent for a long, long time. The child thinks the story has ended. Then she speaks more slowly in a softer voice. And yet, we were wrong. To feel life's pulse and sense the joy and sorrow of all living things, this had been our gift. But in that long night, it became the cruelest torture. The baby Dreamweaver makes a horrifying discovery. Upon Mother's body, always aglow with that gentle light, are scars. Faint lines trace the tips of her sensitive, feathery fins, the roots of her limbs, and the skin nearest her heart. You see them, don't you? Mother tenderly strokes those marks with her claws. Our kind is blessed with the gift of regeneration. A broken heart can mend itself anew. An exhausted mind can be restored, and even a severed limb will slowly sprout like a fresh bud. But the despair of an entire planet spread faster than we could even ever heal. Our synapses couldn't bear the weight. Whenever we combed through those charred, tangled threads and wove suffocating agony into shape, our bodies were torn apart and devoured. The Dreamweaver clamps the 6 feathery fins over his ears. He doesn't want to hear any more, but as Mother gently teases apart the tangle of threads, she pulls out a beautiful peacock green strand. It's bluer than life's beginnings, like an emerald from a deep sea vein that was kissed by golden sunlight. Do not be afraid, my child. I'm still here. Which means we were blessed enough to survive the night. She cradles the shimmering thread. Just as we did when we first came into being, we returned to the seabed, a place closer to the planet's heart, and fell into a deep slumber. For 30 million years, this world was silent once more, and we slept, waiting to be awakened again by life. The baby Dreamweaver twines that peacock green strand that still flickered with tiny grains of sand with the soft saffron yellow. As he works, the feathery fins on either side of his head feel as light as air, as heavy as stone. Before his eyes, a tapestry unfurls. The sea and the land are woven into form. Honey, it's okay to say that you have your own channel. I don't mind. The more the merrier. Chapter 4, Cosmic Tides. This is the baby Dreamweaver's first creation. The threads Mother placed in his tiny claws awakens something within him. For the first time, he understands how wondrous this gift truly is. As the silk glides through the delicate synapses located on the tips of his feathery fins, he listens with every fiber of his being. Finally, he tastes the emotions lingering in the giant clam's dream. A longing for sunlight, a quiet determination to grow. Mother, did the world teem with life again after that night? It's a question he can't help but ask. Yes, this world always finds a way to live again, but it's never quite the same. Mother brushes a feathery fin across her child's first creation. After so many years of weaving the dreams in this age, her feathery fins have lost the soft sensitivity of youth. Yet the memory of touch remains as vivid as ever. Before her eyes rise visions of the most magnificent creatures she has ever witnessed, which is followed by the grandest radiance she has ever woven. The ebb and flow of life are the universe's tides. When the waters receded, the land became a new sanctuary for the new lives. The cutest piece I wove came from a little fern. It clung to life in a gap between the rocks. In its dream, each of its fronds became a tiny drawer, and when those drawers opened, little universes made all manner of spores rested inside them. The sun it imagined was a rainbow rolled into a lollipop. Then even grander silhouettes appeared upon the land. The dinosaurs. The most magnificent tapestry I ever created came from them. In those dreams, colors spread in great bold swaths. Plants towered to pierce the clouds. When the dinosaurs ran, the earth shook beneath their feet. How big were the dinosaurs? About as big as whales? Wow. Why can't we see them anymore, though? The world fell silent once again. The dinosaurs vanished, swallowed by skies choked with ash and the white of an endless winter that gripped the globe. And so we retreated to the deep sea, once more to compose requiems for the finale of the Cretaceous era. Why is my brain not reading the word? Cretaceous era. When the last note faded and the final dream unraveled, we dragged our broken bodies into another slumber. We rise and fall over and over like one's breath. The baby Dreamweaver tilts his head, his feathery fins flailing about like little claws grasping at thoughts. Then his small eyes begin to sparkle once more. And then, oh, I know, after every tide this planet welcomes new visitors. And then, a note of reverence steals into Mother's voice. Humanity was born. Their dreams are no longer simply what their eyes behold or what their bodies feel. Their dreams reach beyond the present. They hold regrets about yesterday, hopes for tomorrow. And yet this isn't the most wondrous part. Mother's eyes begin to shimmer with a light never seen before. There's a brilliant splendor when they dream of each other. It's no longer the simple attraction or intimidation between animals, nor the primal urge to survive or reproduce. The colors that surge through their dreams can be veiled in ivory, the courage to walk into danger and oblivion for the sake of another soul. They can also give rise to a light as crystalline as a diamond. The steadfast will to gaze upon the stars and dream of touching them. Their feelings have granted us the richest tapestries we have ever created. Sound, color, rhythm, and every sensation are woven together into a new art form. It's an art that's vivid and immersive. It's as though within each small human body lies a newborn universe aching to exist. The baby dream weaver hasn't felt so exhilarated before, but when a new thread becomes entwined around his fins, he finally realizes the chill never faded. A light that's too bright casts the darkest of shadows. Those beautiful colors begin to clash and blend until they grew foul and tainted. The curiosity that once sparked exploration transformed into a greed that would devour all things. Within selfless love, the thorns of possession took root, and in the radiance of life, the seeds of death began to churn. We watched as our home was upended by curiosity. We buried with our own hands dear friends whose bones were picked clean by those who wielded a weapon in the name of love. In their dreams, we found a splendor beyond anything we'd ever known and something else we had never witnessed. A black hole. A void. Mother's gaze lands on her child's feathery fins. With scarred hands, she tears away the fibers clinging to those tender synapses. Where they scrape across the skin, pink transforms into an angry red, and blood begins to seep. Well, I was not expecting to read a story about the creation of all the universe with axolotls, but here we are. I'm going to take a sip of more water. This is fascinating. I love the imagery behind it. Chapter 5. Nightmare. Is that why the threads exist like this now, Mother? Yes. They are no longer threads, my child. They have a new name now. They are thorns. Mother gazes upon the tapestry before her. She cannot recall when it happened, when those soft, singing, glorious silken threads first grew hard shells and sprouted barbs. After all, in the long chronicle of this planet's dream, the age of humanity is in the last few seconds. It's short, easy to be forgotten. Mother, can they change back? I don't know, my child. Perhaps this world will fall silent once more when the hues are no longer pure amongst thorns. Unlike the cataclysms of ages past, this silence may occur without thunder or flame. It may creep in quietly, ordinary as any other day, and settle down when they stay silent despite their conscience, when they turn a blind eye to beauty. And perhaps we will have no more dreams left to weave. Will we disappear too? I'm not sure. In the end, we are artists who chronicle civilization through our creations. Humanity once sought from us the secret to eternal life, a way to escape death. But we ourselves do not know the answer. Maybe this planet will be undone one day, and when that day comes, with nowhere left to go, we shall drift apart alongside its mountains and lakes and seas and scatter into deep space. On land, humanity continues to enact its tragic comedies that are too tangled to fully unravel. They're dazzling in their brilliance, yet chaotic beyond measure. The baby dreamweaver nestles close to Mother, his eyes shiny and bright. He looks at the unfinished tapestry woven from thorns. With trembling, feathery fins, he reaches out alongside Mother, and together they complete the final corner of the dream. Although his powerful gift of regeneration swiftly covers each wound with new tissue, Mother always knows about the pains her child has yet to speak. To have brought you into this age, my child, I'm sorry. Well, we were doing great, and now we've got the angst. It's cold. We've got thorns. Please don't tell me this story ends with, you know, frickin' emissary killing the axolotls. Don't do that to Zayne. Just don't do that to Zayne. That's just not nice. That's not really cool. I don't want that. Like, say no, don't do it. Don't. The end is here. Thorns. Not the axolotls, Dawnbreaker, no. Ah, chapter 6. A bedtime story for good kids. Oh, thank you for the angst reliever. Somewhere in this world, a human stirs from slumber. And on the far side of the earth, a child by the sea fights drowsiness and asks one last question before sleep takes hold. Why don't the dream weavers just stop? If dream weaving hurts so much, then why do they keep weaving for humans? Or they could just weave the pretty ones. The old butler gently closes the book of fairy tales. A sea breeze slips through the window, and the seashell wind chime beneath the eaves rings once. It's as soft as a whisper, then peace returns. Children, if you had never seen ugliness, how would you know what beauty is? If the sun only rose but never set, and the sea only took but never breathed into clouds, the drowsy children fall into a thoughtful silence. One shakes their head uncertainly. Then a soft voice tinged with sorrow speaks. Yeah, it sounds like the sun and the sea would be dead. The child lifts their face, and the others turn to look at the old butler too, their bright eyes covered with a thin veil of tears. The old butler smiles. Exactly. For the dream weavers, what to weave and whether to weave were never choices to make. It's simply the way they exist. Like breathing. Breathing in the bitter cold strings. Breathing in the desert can be suffocating. But does life stop breathing because it hurts? The old butler dims the warm bedside lamp. Starlight from Deepspace drifts through the window and spills into the room. It settles softly upon each small upturned face. The dream weavers never stopped weaving, not because they believed they could prevent the end or because they were ordered to. I think it was precisely because they knew all too well the death is inevitable. The old butler looks out the window, his eyes finding a galaxy's distant stars. In deep space, humanity is no different from the Cambrian period's trilobites, the Jurassic period's dinosaurs, the Frozen Plains mammoths, or us. What the dream weavers wove was proof of one's existence, a testimony to how life once burned, how it struggled, and how beautiful it was. It's like when we draw pictures and sing songs. Yes, it's like how we create our lives. Even if we vanish one day, so long as the songs are still hummed and our works still endure, then the lives that we have come and gone in deep space, they won't exist in vain. Young faces reveal earnest pride. These little chroniclers of deep space civilization have finally decided it's time to go to bed. They'll need their energy to greet tomorrow's mission. The old butler walks to the windowsill and The old butler walks to the windowsill. A figure leaning quietly against the outer wall has listened to the story alongside the children. The butler follows his gaze toward the distance. There lies the sea, deep and fathomless. The deep space vast and boundless, merging gently into one. I wonder who was listening with the children. I will take my blood diamonds. 2 stories left, my darlings. Iris. Iris, dear. I believe I have reached forward to the one that you have been waiting for. This was indeed less painful than the other 2. But considering that Iris is now squirming in her seat, and I'm pretty sure Caleb is about to go down, the angst train is probably returning. So we're gonna find out. This is just a stream of my tears. It's fine. It's cool. I mean, dear God, the last one's called Fairnight's Edge. It's just... Here we go. So, story 29. Above the Ashes. Chapter 1. Bygone Bloom. A low-frequency hum permeates every corner of the Far Space Fleet's HQ. As if the air trembles in sync with the distant pulse of the floating harbor and the steady breath of the nearby engines. Rufus strides down the corridor. His pace is brisk, each footstep landing heavy and measured against the deck because of his military boots. As he passes the operations center, a cluster of young technicians is locked in a heated debate over simulation data. When they see him, the argument dies in the middle of a sentence. They fix their posture, their eyes following his retreating figure. Rufus doesn't break stride. He simply raises a hand over his shoulder as he passes. Don't rush when DC voltage is involved. Engineering is about closed-loop thinking. Get your fundamentals down on a support ship first. Yes, Captain. The technicians freeze for a second before erupting into murmurs of sudden understanding. Rufus turns the corner and nearly collides with a logistics crew member clutching a stack of documents. His gaze notes the member's haggard features. His pace slows slightly. How did the surgery go for the elder back home? It went well. Recovery is still under observation, but... The crew member stammers, caught off guard by the attention. If your vacation quota falls short, submit a special authorization request through the system. Use my code. The words are already behind him as Rufus reaches the end of the corridor. The automatic doors slide open without a sound, and they seal away the faint warmth of human presence behind him. Please hold. Go. One moment. Got that back. I'm just trying to get the... Twitch couldn't handle all the angst, so it got a little weird. One second, my apologies. do not know why my chat widget has decided to die. But it's having a moment. But at least y'all can see the iPad again, correct? Okay. Well, that one isn't working. We're just gonna bring back regular Twitch for the moment. Don't know why Stream Elements died there, but it did. So, unfortunately, no pretty chat. It's just gonna be old-fashioned Twitch. But as long as the iPad is back, everybody, then we should be. We should be good. I will figure out what's going on with that chat thing later. There we go. Okay. All right. And the raccoons are fixed. Oh Lord, this single chapter is 13 pages? Jesus. Okay. Are all the chapters in this story this long? All right, here we go. Back on track. The air in the interrogation room is cold and carries the dry, rusty scent of old blood. The man seated across the long table sits rigid. He's the quartermaster who has served under Rufus for 5 years. Now, he doesn't dare lift his head, his hands clenched white in his lap. The supplies partner representative lounging on the side sofa, however, appears more at ease. She studies Rufus with obvious curiosity. Captain Rufus, there's no need to be so serious. She taps the table, her tone airy. You can't expect a horse to run without letting it graze. Your quartermaster is a man who understands how the world works. Rufus doesn't spare her a glance. He walks to the head of the table and takes his seat. He removes his officer's cap and sets it on the surface. The soft click is deliberate. The quartermaster flinches. Graze, Rufus repeats the word, his voice betraying nothing. Smuggling unquarantined high-risk protocors into Skyhaven means there's quite an appetite. The representative spreads her hands. No one was hurt. Besides, we've always been the fleet's most loyal supporters. Rufus doesn't acknowledge her. His fingers swipe across the electronic display. A harsh vibration alert resounds from the quartermaster's personal terminal. The public notice screen on the interrogation room wall flashes red. It's the designation for a fleet-wide broadcast at the highest clearance level. Notice. The former Logistic Division quartermaster exploited his position during his tenure to illegally transfer unquarantined high-risk protocols. Per Article 4.3 of the Farspace Fleet Code of Conduct and Disciplinary Regulations, he shall be stripped of all duties, effective immediately. He is permanently barred from serving in the future. Past merits aren't a get-out-of-jail-free card. Rufus's gaze passes over his former colleague. I trusted you. The quartermaster's face is ashen. He leans back in his chair. The representative's smile freezes. She rises and speaks, her tone cold. Rufus, we're hardly the ones who have issues with you. You're cutting off your own path. Doors over there. Rufus straightens his officer's cap, his gaze already fixed on the holographic sand table beyond her. 2 weeks later, the gangway connection in the Farspace Fleet's port. The restructuring of partnerships has caused no disruptions. It has the opposite effect. Ever's cobalt blue logo blinks to life across the harbor's docking arms and equipment interfaces one after another. Everything runs smoother, cleaner than before. When one of the fleet's largest former partners withdrew in the wake of the Protocor smuggling scandal, Ever seized the moment to step in and slowly consolidate a number of smaller specialized resources under its umbrella. Rufus stands on the elevated bridge. He watches that cobalt blue rise like a tide and wash over every corner he knows by heart. Dismantle the spoof signal array. A cold voice cuts through the ambient hum. Rufus frowns. Turning to descend the stairs, a tactical advisor wearing an Ever uniform stands at the side of the bridge and gestures toward a cluster of old model signal reception arrays that have survived to this day. They're relics from the fleet's founding and older than Skyhaven itself. The massive bowl-shaped primary reflector gathers signals from Deepspace. Surrounding it is a ring of curved secondary panels. Each is independently adjustable as they fan outward like layered petals and focus signal beams from every direction across the central feed cabin. Why am I suddenly envisioning an axolotl? The entire structure is supported by metal spokes at its back. It rises like the stem of a flower, so the crew has always called it a sunflower. Rufus walks over, raising a hand to halt the work. Stop. The advisor notices him and offers a perfunctory smile. He nudges his glasses. Captain, according to our assessment, this signal array's effective information capture rate is too low. The fleet is now equipped with Ever's latest receivers. There's no need to waste processing power on meaningless background noise. Rufus stands his ground before the advisor, gaze unyielding. Its efficiency may not meet some people's standards, but it's honest. It records everything it sees and hears exactly as received. I understand your attachment to legacy equipment. After all, you've been with the fleet for over a decade now, but this is 2048. The new receivers are paired with the most intelligent, most advanced arrhythmic systems available. Decision-making efficiency will improve dramatically. This isn't about nostalgia. We must have access to the raw frequency bands. It's non-negotiable. Perhaps you don't fully appreciate what these algorithms offer. The advisor tone is patient. Their filtering parameters are modeled on over a decade of data from every deep space-related incident Skyhaven has faced. Any signal the system filters out is either known, a harmless natural phenomenon, or its energy signature is so negligible that even if it reached the surface, it couldn't possibly pose a threat. Your models are built on known quantities and current ground capabilities, but the entire point of deep space exploration is confronting the unknown. What your system trims away as signal noise could be a new type of transmission never before recorded, or, he pauses, the intermittent distress call from a powerless escape pod as it drifts in the dark. The probability of something that extreme, the Far Space Fleet's history is full of such cases. You're welcome to look them up. The advisor falls silent. Rufus steps forward, his voice steadfast. When the system declares everything is clear, I need to verify the raw frequency band myself. The two maintain eye contact for a while. The advisor has no desire to start a conflict with a captain of Rufus's standing. Not in the early days of a new partnership, anyway. He shrugs, conceding. Fine, if you insist on this level of caution. I'll have to note in my report that it will add to the fleet's operating budget. After the advisor leaves, Rufus stands alone before the Sunflower's master control panel. He enters a long, complex encryption key and locks the analog array's output directly to his personal terminal and sets the highest priority override. It bypasses Ever's systems pre-processing. The warship slips into the planet's shadow. Rufus returns to the deck where a file marked highest priority unfolds across the holographic display. The young man in the photograph has a striking, handsome face and a flawless smile. Rufus's gaze sweeps over the dazzling service record. S-rank pilot, voyage record holder, solo breach specialist. Each title represents countless brushes with death where survival relied on sheer skill. But as he lowers his gaze, 3 words sit at the bottom of the file. Recommended by Ever. His adjutant stands nearby, observing Rufus's expression. The air holds its silence before Rufus presses his palm together and closes the file. To him, possessing an extraordinary talent only to willingly become Ever's instrument is more tragic than incompetence. Ooh, I like this man. I like this man a lot. 'Cause fuck Ever. God, the arrogance of that technician. My hand was itching to slap him, and I'm like, ooh, I'm not prone to violence, but I want to slap the shit out of this technician. I know what happens when I like someone. They're gonna die. It's fine. He stood against Ever. Ever can't have Rufus running around getting in the way of their plans. So, you know, Rufus is probably going to die. He didn't bend the knee to the Iron Throne. That's not... this isn't going to end well. Chapter 2. Peril. The energy output from this mutated protocore has breached the standard threshold. The magnetic storm is triggering... Its triggering is still expanding. The lights in the briefing room have been dimmed. It's almost complete darkness. A holographic sand table hovers at the center of the room. Ever's technical representative stands in the shadows and sweeps the air to pull up a set of new raw frequency bands captured by the Sunflower. It's overlaid against the sand table's imaging. Once converted, faint specks of light flicker at the edge of the hazard zone. Captain Rufus, you know how to plan ahead. The representative smiles and slowly claps. Our new algorithms are designed to filter out fluctuations in deep space that pose no threat. Unfortunately, they also screen out life support signals whose spectral signatures overlap too closely with the magnetic field. If you hadn't insisted on preserving those inefficient frequency bands, we likely wouldn't have known that anyone was trapped in the magnetic storm until their wreckage drifted out. God damn, I want to punch this dude in the face. Oh my god. A Deep Space Aviation Administration patrol squadron. He unhurriedly gestures toward the flickering specks of light. They were conducting routine deep space cartography when the magnetic storm's sudden expansion swept them in. Navigation systems across the board failed. They're surviving on backup power alone. The life support systems were operating at a bare minimum when they were in turbulence. I imagine DAA is still scrambling to locate their missing research team as we speak. The adjunct stands behind Rufus and gulps. Ever since the Sunflower dispute, Ever's displeasure with their uncooperative captain has surfaced in one resource approval clash and technical disagreement after another. The sudden show of goodwill is impossible to take at face value. This is currently the only viable solution. The representative rotates the hologram to reveal a model of black angular device. A suppressor developed by Ever under emergency protocols. Deploy it to the central zone and activate it. It will neutralize the energy fluctuations. Not only will it save the DAA's researchers, but it will also allow us to salvage the mutated protocores. Its mutation profile exceeds anything in our existing archives, so its research value is immeasurable. The representative pauses, his gaze cutting through the hologram to land directly on Rufus. The magnetic storm is a meat grinder. Any standard fighter that enters is as good as dead. After careful consideration, only the flagship's armor integrity combined with your personal piloting skill stands any chance of delivering the suppressor to the central area. The briefing room falls deathly silent. Rufus runs his thumb along a scratch on his glove. His adjunct leans in and murmurs, "Captain, please reconsider. That protocore may be valuable, but if we bide our time and wait for the storm to weaken, we can find a safer way to salvage it." Rufus says nothing. His gaze remains fixed on the light drifting across the sand table. Each one represents a life. He understands the logic his adjunct is laying out all too well. If he ignores the distress signals that would have been filtered out regardless, he can refuse Ever's hastily assembled solution on perfectly reasonable grounds, avoid the unknown risk, protect himself. A flicker of amusement passes through the representative's eyes. The adjunct's voice grows more urgent. Besides, DAA has nothing to do with us. At worst, we send a perimeter fleet to hover at the edge to put on a show of rescue efforts. Notify all stations. The flagship departs in 10 minutes. Rufus stands up. His gaze passes over the Ever representative without stopping. His voice as steadfast as iron as it severs every unspoken protest before it can leave his adjunct's lips. If he turns a blind eye now and saves himself by pretending he never heard the cries for help, then what was the point of keeping the Sunflower in the first place? Ever has hoisted him onto a pedestal built of duty. Only two paths remain. Become a blade that bends to their hand or an obstacle marked for removal. They've tested his limits time and time again. Very well. He'll give them an answer that leaves no room for misreading. Central Fleet, here's your mission objective. We're bringing them home. Chapter 3. The Final Decision. The flagship presses forward, step by step, into the heart of the magnetic storm's vortex. The space around it has already been warped under the onslaught of furious energy currents, yet Rufus's hands remain steady on the sensory control interface. He operates with the certainty of a surgeon with a scalpel. His neural link feeds directly into the warship's systems. Every minute shift in the chaos outside registers against his senses. Under his command, the vessel moves with almost instinctive precision. The bow tilts briefly, riding an incoming wave of energy flux as cover. He threads the needle past gravitational forces strong enough to tear through armor. A pulse bursts from the starboard support thrusters, corrects their altitude. The movement is elegant. Arrival at designated coordinates has been confirmed. Protocore detected. Extending docking bridge. With a heavy thud of impact, the black angular suppressor locks onto the protocore. On the hologram, the readings representing protocore fluctuations spike wildly. It's an expected reaction to the intervention. But when the system countdown ends, there is no stabilization. Instead, a glaring warning flashes across the control interface. Insufficient power detected. An external energy source is required to initiate neutralization protocol. Rufus stares at the prompt, his pupils contracting. Inside the sealed maelstrom, only two power sources exist: the flagship's engines and the life support systems of the Standard Patrol Squadron. So this is the trap. He always knew Ever's generosity would come with a price. He prepared for the obvious ones, using a deep space crisis to eliminate him, leveraging a failed mission to demand his death, or engineering a power grab over the fleet. None of that frightened him. He believed in his own skills and his crew's loyalty, but he never anticipated this. In Ever's calculations, the Protocor's transformation wasn't a crisis to be managed, it was an opportunity. They placed assets on one side of the scale and human lives on the other. Then they forced his hand onto the weight. Through the comms channel, the Ever representative's voice cuts through the storm. It's crisp, unhurried, and as soft as silk. Captain Rufus, please confirm immediately. If this Protocor's fluctuations spiral out of control, it will trigger a cascading overload across Skyhaven's power grid. For the greater good, a certain degree of resource loss is acceptable. We know every pilot in the Far Space Fleet and the Deep Space Aviation Administration has made peace with the possibility of resting among the stars. The voice pauses. Then it continues as if stating the most natural truth in the world. Besides, the research value of this protocol is worth 10 squadron like these. Captain, just press it! The adjunct's voice cracks as it cuts in. They're so certain that the protocol is one of a kind. If this mission fails, you'll be stripped of everything. This was always a rigged game. Ever is forcing you to choose. Rufus's vision narrows until nothing remains but the scarlet activation key. His hand hovers above it, its weight as heavy as 1,000 lives. A chill rises through him and seeps into his bones and soul. He cannot accept a world where human lives are placed on a scale and measured, where every breath is converted into cold numerical columns of profit and loss. Rufus has already thought of the third solution. Ever isn't going to like this. All units. A violent shudder tears through the flagship. Every overload screams through the hull. The comms signal fractures into static. His right hand comes down, not on the activation key. It slashes through the cables connecting the suppressor. In one swift motion, he kills Ever's dedicated interface permanently. This is my final order. Evacuate immediately. Rufus's voice rings through the fleet's internal channel. There was neither hesitance nor the intention of taking it back. Captain? Captain, what are you doing? His adjunct's panicked cry is severed and locked outside the comms channel. Without the suppressor's guidance, the protocore at the Vortex Center breaks free. It begins to collapse and expand. Rufus slams the thrusters into dangerous threshold marked in red. Against his own orders, every shield generator on the flagship overloads at once. They flare to life in a single, desperate, fragile barrier planted directly between the raging torrent of energy about to burst and the DAA's stranded squad. Alarms scream in overlapping waves. The warship groans at the edge of structural failure. Rufus's nervous system is fused deep into the flagship's system. Every inch of armor that's torn away feels as though it's being ripped from his flesh, but he grits his teeth. He endures and refuses to move. Well, here's Captain America's "No, you move" moment. Chapter 4. The Final Bow and the Debut. On the bridge's main display, the lights representing the DAA's patrol squadron fade from red one by one. They vanish into the area beyond the boundaries of the safe zone. After the final onslaught of energy flux, the flagship is unrecognizable. Its sleek figure has been torn apart, its starboard armor stripped clean. Conduits and cables are exposed to outer space like raw veins. Inside the cockpit, life support oxygen levels have dropped below the safety threshold. Rufus feels a suffocating coldness closing around his consciousness. Beyond the viewport, over a dozen Ever observation drones haven't withdrawn. They circled the dying warship like carrion birds. Countless dark lenses gaze down in silence to record the proud captain's curtain call. Is this how it ends? Rufus's breath comes in ragged gasps. His vision blurs and drifts. He sees himself as a young man. He sees the faces of old crewmates one after another. He sees the day he first set foot in the Far Space Fleet's HQ, and the sunflower's metal petals unfurling under the sunlight. When his lighthouse goes dark, where will this ship called the Far Space Fleet sail in the approaching darkness? Will it still hold true to the purpose it was born to follow? Will it chart deep space with independence and conviction? Or will it become nothing more than a pawn beneath a vast machine and wait for orders? He has no regrets. There is only a lingering ache of unfinished business. He never made it as far as he wanted to go. Warning! High-level energy signature approaching. A pitch-black fighter jet rips through the chaotic energy field at staggering speed. As soon as it appears, a tightly focused EM pulse blankets the airspace occupied by Ever's drone swarm. Data uplinks are severed, and camera feeds dissolve into static. Rufus's fading vision can't even track its trajectory. The fighter jet doesn't slow. In the same breath, it grazes the singularity and fires a single unremarkable silver beacon. There's no explosion. That beacon functions like a lightning rod as it seizes the furious energy torrent that should have devoured the flagship. It's bent into a wicked refraction through space. The redirected surge screams past the warship's mangled hull and plunges into the circling swarm of drones. Without any sound or warning, the entire formation is swept into oblivion and swallowed by light. The massive shockwave's aftermath hurls the flagship and makes it tumble toward the far reaches of deep space. Amid the violent shuddering, Rufus finally slips beyond the edge of consciousness. At last, he falls into a long, dreamless night. Chapter 5. The Eve. When his consciousness returns, the scent clinging to his nostrils is no longer the acrid char of ozone. It's the cold, sterile bite of antiseptic. The white walls of a covert medical station slowly sharpen into focus. Rufus tries to gather his thoughts, but something refuses to align. He doesn't need a doctor to deliver the verdict. After half a lifetime of fighting in deep space, he knows the neural links feed back with intimate precision. And now, that seamless spatial awareness of blending with his warship is slipping away. He is no longer fit for any sort of intensive command. The automatic door slides open without a sound. Rufus remembers the name of every soul aboard the Far Space Fleet, so he knows Liam is the one to step inside. Liam skips the pleasantries, his voice low. "Captain, please allow me to give the fleet's official debriefing that was submitted to Ever." Rufus, stripped of his rank and having defied reasonable technical guidance during the operation, has perished alongside his ship. Rufus listens. His sharp gaze is fixed on Liam, and he waits for the rest. Colonel Caleb was dispatched under emergency protocols. He successfully salvaged the high-risk mutated protocore and prevented a power grid crisis in Skyhaven. It's a flawless debut for the new colonel. Liam's tone remains measured and factual. "I assume he piloted that black fighter jet." A faint, knowing smile crosses Rufus's lips. Certain suspicions fall into place. "The official report is clear, Captain. The energy flux at the vortex center was highly unpredictable. The drones were lost due to an unfortunate accident while attempting close-range combat documentation. No other cause has been identified. Liam recites the script with perfect neutrality. Additionally, you should be aware that your survival is strictly classified. This medical station is Colonel Caleb's private facility. You're encouraged to focus on recovering here. Rufus's expression doesn't soften. His gaze remains locked on Liam, and he cuts straight to the point. And Caleb's hidden everything he's done from ever? Liam presses his lips together and lowers his gaze. Captain Rufus. The automatic door slides open once more. A tall figure steps through the backlit threshold. Sporting a black gold uniform and spotless leather gloves, he has the face Rufus once studied in a holographic dossier. Caleb carries a medical report in one hand. He reaches the bedside, carefully sets it down, and lets his gaze drift past the tangle of tubes and monitors until it settles on the sunflowers arranged in a nearby vase. He says gently, "You're still recovering. Try not to overexert yourself." This is the first time Rufus has laid eyes on his successor. In person, Caleb is every bit as striking and composed as his photograph, yet something in the depths of his gaze carries an unexpected warmth. Rufus maintains eye contact with him before finally speaking. His voice is rough. "You wrote yourself a perfect script." "Yes," Caleb's admission lacks any semblance of hesitation. "They needed a story like this to establish new rules, and I needed this identity to preserve some of the old ones." "Your road will be harder than mine," Rufus says, his voice heavy with weight of certainty. Caleb's eyes reveal the faintest hint of amusement. There is the stillness of someone who has long since mastered a game. Rufus scoffs, letting his eyes close as he turns away. He says nothing more and listens to the measured steps of military boots returning to the door. When the door is just about to close, he opens his eyes one last time. Caleb's figure is resolute and unwavering as he strides toward the treacherous labyrinth of power. A long silence passes. Then, Rufus's lips slowly twist into something caught between self-mockery and release. He believed the Far Space Fleet needed a lighthouse, one willing to burn itself to ashes. But perhaps he was wrong. This dark frontier doesn't need more fire. It needs a greater night. And hidden at night's end will be the morning finally unsheathed. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love Rufus. And I love it because that means Caleb has Rufus in his back pocket. He's got a former Far Space Fleet colonel as a pawn on his chessboard with Ever. I still want to punch fucking that Ever technician. Like, but that the political repercussions of that. And he's hiding it. He's got a whole medical facility. Where the fuck is he getting his money? Ha! Key unsheathed morning is my new name for it. Yes, add that to the list, children. Add that to the list. The latest dick joke for Caleb. Unsheathed morning. Where is he getting the funding? Where is he getting the money? If he's got an entire private medical facility and the way to, by the way, Lady Gris, hello, thank you so much for the follow. If he's got that on deck, who's backing him? I mean, a lot of people hate Ever. That's absolutely true. and then the neural link to fly the ship. Like, there's so much happening here that's fascinating to me. Absolutely fascinating. I mean, yes, he could be smart enough to steal money from Ever. That's absolutely viable, Miss. But I think that there's he's got to have another backer. There's got to be more at play. Not this kind of money. State-of-the-art medical equipment? Like, it opens up so much about Caleb in terms of the board that he's putting in play, the pieces that he has on deck. It's really interesting. It's really interesting. Now, you could have parlayed that, because here's the other thing. At the moment, we don't have any interaction between the LIs on deck. You have nods to Caleb and Zayne, having known each other, grown up with MC, but you've never seen them really interact together. And so it's very, Caleb's board is very interesting. Because he's playing the inside. He's got to do all of this under Ever's nose. And technically, Liam has a Turing chip inside of him. So Liam doesn't have Caleb's constitution, let alone a swath of black holes to protect himself. So how is Caleb securing Liam's loyalty? Because the Turing chip is meant to... Yeah, like, Liam's family, you think about Liam's family, has he messed with the chip? Is there something else at play? Like, my understanding would be the Turing chip gives Ever control. Because you have the whole, it's about the sleeper cells, essentially. The idea that they can turn people into their own, the atrium. They're turning people into wanderers. And then the Turing chip gives them control. So, like, that's to part of me think, I mean, that's part of Ever's end goal, at least one of their many plans that I've extrapolated from the story from my perspective. It's not fully a sleeper cell, but it's about, it's about exerting a level of mental and emotional control over whoever's implanted with it. So I'm curious, like, this tells us so much and tells us so little at the same time. Yes, he does. He tells MC. He did. So the question is, how is Caleb securing Liam's loyalty? And how is Liam fighting the chip? Remember, Caleb is a special little bunny. He is his own beast. Liam is not Caleb. So how is Liam fighting the programming? And how is Caleb assisting in that? Yes, darling, we're doing 30. We are. I'm loving this. I need to chomp on 29 for a bit. But there's a lot in 29 that's really intriguing to me. So I'm gonna have to chomp on that for a bit. But we have reached our final story, which is story 30, Fairnight's Edge. Chomp chomp. Actually, 1 second, please. I'm gonna play Squirtle Sex and go grab a cheese stick. I haven't eaten today, and I'm noticing that I'm getting a little shaky, so let me go grab a cheese stick really quick. I'll be right back. Okay. What? Cheese stick acquired. Drink some water. Hydrate, everybody. Hi, baby kitty. Okay. Offerings for the tiny god. As I shove a cheese stick in my mouth. Oh my god. That Streamloots card is incredible. It's one of the most realistic lightning sounds. Okay. Sorry, kids. Mama needed to shove some food in her mouth real quick. Woo. Why on earth are you apologizing? I love that card. All right, sip some water, shove a cheese stick in my mouth. We're good to go. All right, let's do this, kids. Let's bring this stream home. Story 30, Fairnight's Edge. Chapter 1, Civ Research Division Archive Guide. Since its founding in 1960, the Deepspace Academy has compiled and organized observational records concerning Earth's civilizations. Giant insects of the Paleozoic era, towering trees of the... Oh god, why is there so much science? Carboniferous. Towering trees of the Carboniferous period, massive marine creatures of the Permian period. They once ruled the Earth only to vanish into the depths of geological time. Each mass extinction is Earth's way of renewing itself. Old species disappear, new ones emerge, and life continues. What if humanity is part of one such renewal? What if our civilization is a fleeting chapter in Earth's long history? Note, this file is restricted to important members in the Deepspace Academy. Unauthorized disclosure will be punished in accordance with Academy Disciplinary Code Article 7. Chapter 2, Known Civilization Types. Case file number 000001. Archivist, Cronus, Deepspace Academy Physics Department. Data. Observation number SC214, Extraterrestrial civilization. Since the Academy's discovery of a complex device designed 4201 in the northern mountain region, designated. Wow, my brain is reaching the end of its capacity. Since the Academy's discovery of a complex device designated 4201 in the northern mountainous region, decades of covert observation documented multiple individuals whose appearances have remained unchanged for decades. These entities appear and disappear, which defy physics. They also exhibit instantaneous displacement. They bear a striking resemblance to the backtracker appearance observed years ago. Update. Recently, subject number redacted was seen using this ability while helping a friend deliver flowers, presumably to avoid late deliveries. It confirms that this is unrelated to No Hunt Zone number 42's effects and is unique to this group. It suggests that they might be humans from the future who have evolved. Observation number 2. OCG 003407. Oceanic civilization. Organisms of this category possess a humanoid upper body and a tail structure adapted to aquatic environments. It's consistent with what humans refer to as merfolk. Aside from normal vision, hearing, smell, and taste, their sensory systems relies on clusters of synapses distributed across their skin. They're imperceptible to the naked eye. Thanks to sensory capabilities exceeding those of humans, these individuals demonstrate exceptional artistic intuition. Their works possess a staggering emotional depth and unmatched expression. They surpass the technical range of even the most accomplished human artists. Observation number 3, FB001. Higher plane of existence. Eyewitnesses reports indicate that unidentified mirages have appeared at multiple locations worldwide, including Lincoln City and the Arctic. These phenomena consistently manifest as a white, geometric, semi-transparent structures that remain briefly visible. No additional data is available at this time. Update. Recently, some witnesses near the Arctic have reported multiple sightings of a figure moving between unidentified structures and the snow-capped mountains. Notably, temperatures in the nearby vicinity are significantly lower than that of the surrounding area. As of this recording, the timing and mechanism of these unpredictable appearances and disappearances remain unexplained. No photographic evidence is available. Appendix. Perhaps millions of life forms have already existed in this world long before humanity emerged. If the rumors about the end of the world are true and humanity now stands at its twilight, are these diverse civilizations appearing to save us or replace us? Kronos. And before I continue, everybody that's chatting right now remembers who Kronos is, correct? For those lurkers and such who may have forgotten, as a reminder, Kronos is, well, you have Kronos and Kronos. So there is the one with the K, Kronos, and then Kronos, Chronus, are both figures and masters of time in Greek mythology. Well, and also Western mythology in general. Kronos with a K is your more time as time. It just exists. It's a process. It does its thing. It rolls around and does what it does. Kronos with a CH is, or was, I should say, a Titan who ruled over Olympus before Zeus was like, hey, daddy, no, and did what he did. He gets looped into the themology of time, and becomes more of a time as a sentient force, as father of all time kind of thing. Yeah, daddy issues abounding, Neko. So you've got I find it interesting that they're choosing the version of the name with the CH, as that is usually connected to Kronos as a sentient creature, as a one with a will and a design, something you can bargain with. Because K does not bargain. There is no bargaining with Kronos with a K. It's right up there with going back to episode 2 or 3 of Voidside Chats, ye olden days, where I was discussing Mahakala and the three of them. So just as a brief reminder. Chapter 3, Other Supplementary Records. Case file number 000017. Archivist, Valesha, Deepspace Academy, Anomalous Research Division. Data file number 1. A facility under Ever once attempted to archive a primitive form of life, digitization. Yeah, archive a primitive form of life digitization by extracting the consciousness of fruit flies. The project, codenamed Open Swarm, was forcibly terminated after the experiments triggered uncontrollable mechanical interference. It narrowly averted a large-scale crisis. Because science never learns anything from history and keeps repeating the same mistakes over again, thinking that they're smarter and that they won't happen to them. Scientists. Data file number 2. Earlier this month, a biological research team from Lincoln University saw a silhouette of a massive unidentified creature emerging from the woods behind an estate in Lincoln's southern suburbs during a nocturnal sampling expedition. Witnesses reported that the creature moved through the forest at a high speed without making a sound. Well, I think we all know who that is supposed to be referring to. He who shall not be named. Data file number 3. Yesterday, 22/21, a drone was performing cleaning duties on a tech company's building downtown. Its infrared sensors detected an extremely high heat signature behind the windows of an office located on the top floor. The recording was forcibly intercepted and wiped by security systems before it could be uploaded to the cloud. Appendix. How strange. What did I see last night? It's weird. I sneezed and then I couldn't remember anything. Valesha. Ow! Chapter 4. Gaia Research Center. Case file number 000053. Archivist, Amina, Deepspace Academy Biology Division. Data. Ever's Gaia Research Center is the earliest known cross-civilization research institution. Its core data requires clearance of the highest level within Ever. The Deepspace Academy maintained a friendly collaboration with the Institute during the early days of signal decryption, but Gaia has always concealed an unobservable black box within its operations. Notably, the timing of Gaia's establishment, or rather, Ever's rise to prominence, coincides closely with a mysterious family's investment in Ever. Our current hypothesis is that Gaia didn't originate from within Ever. It's possibly a preemptive arrangement by its backers, a semi-independent experimental institution operating outside of Ever's systems. While tracing the source of the mysterious investment, a new company called Core Tech, which dabbles in protocore energy, appeared. Its chief director, their background untraceable, remains shrouded in mystery and appears to maintain a form of close collaboration with Ever. Related files. Redacted. Protocore energy research. System note. Archive is corrupted. Waiting for repairs. Appendix. Conducted an in-depth investigation into the behind-the-scenes collaboration between that company and Ever, but found no written or electronic records whatsoever. Note, there are no records. At all. Amina. Chapter 5. Deep Space Signal. Case file number UN-0000. Archivist. Kronos. Deep Space Academy Physics Department. Data. Signal acquisition log. Source coordinates. At a depth of 57 tunnel units, tunnel wall at 26.35 degrees. Reception time, July 4th, 2034. Carrier medium. Neutrino beam! Not the neutrinos! Speculative hypothesis. Through collaborative decryption of efforts by all 7 divisions of the Deep Space Academy, the following message has been decoded into readable text. Based on a joint analysis, this is highly likely to be a prophecy sent to Earth via a civilization currently undergoing annihilation. Or perhaps it's already been annihilated. Decoded signal. The universe's ultimate state is absolute disorder. What we perceive as order is merely a correction mechanism, a will resisting the universe's entropy. To sustain civilization, the evolution of complex systems inevitably triggers periodic resets to offset information redundancy. It also redistributes resources. All vessels of life and intelligence must, after progressive natural selection, return to the singularity. Oblivion is the final conclusion of the law of Oblivion is the final conclusion of the law of conservation of energy. The observed civilization's complexity is approaching the correction threshold. The twilight of humanity may soon be upon them. When we awaken, we hope to still share the boundless deep space with them. Well, that's a lot. So the question becomes, who is that signal from? What are they talking about? Is this connected to the giant Destructo protocore? Like, there is so much lore happening here. And finally, we see, like, some of the laydown that I believe was meant to be the setup for Valko. Like, you can see it woven in here. You can see the hints. They were setting him up. But that aside, dear God, the letter from Xavier's mom, holy crap, took me all the way out. I think of what we've read today, my 2 favorites are probably going to be story 27 and story 29. Like, that entire thing with Rufus and Caleb, there's so much there. Like, there's so much lore sitting here, and it's just like to chomp on it. And you've got the DAA, and you've got a mysterious family. Like, Ever's rise to power and who's backing Ever is one of my biggest questions. And that's, I love the lore about the guys, don't get me wrong. But the thing that I'm hankering for is lore around Ever, lore around Stanley, and what the hell is going on? Because we know Backtrackers joined Ever, but they didn't establish Ever. Now we have the hints that there's a separate family involved with the Gaia Research Institute. So I love that we're starting to see. I will not forget about my angst reliever. I'm super excited to go look at that. I'm excited to see we're starting to get more to get more lore about the world itself. Like, MC's interesting, the boys are interesting. Absolutely want to know that stuff. But there's so much sitting around in terms of Ever, the fleet, and the Gaia Research Institute. That I am absolutely hankering for. Because I have questions. Because don't forget there's Xander Sciences involved. Like, I need to go back and break some stuff down for my own head, because you've got the Gaia Research Institute, where we know that MC was kept. Highly likely Caleb was kept as well. You've got Xander Sciences, you've got Ever, and you've got the fleet. You've got 4 entities interplaying here. And then you've got fucking Carter with the X-Heart and Xander Sciences. But and Eon Core now. So you've got this maneuvering of entities ever working its way into places to dominate certain areas. And I'm trying to figure out, I mean, yes, they're seeking immortality because they're afraid of dying. La la la. MC is technically kind of immortal, and so they want to study that. Okay, cool. Like, there's so many seeds in this. So many seeds that I'm really hoping to see bloom. I mean, yes, Infold and Love and Deepspace has gone through a lot of shenaniganry in the last couple of weeks. And while that is doing its thing, I still love this game, and I still love this story, and I'm still very much invested in the world and the characters and what's going on. And I hope over time that things can be corrected and that Infold can redeem itself in several ways. But the one thing I can say is that Infold knows how to tell a story. And I think we can still put our trust in that. They have a story they're trying to tell. They're gearing things up, and I think that we need to give them a little trust here. Which is one of my frustrations with what happened with Valco and everybody losing their minds. Especially that contingent of people who were hollering about the balcony visit. And I'm sitting there going, how many times did Rafayel break into the princess's chamber in Abyssal Walker? Is that just me? That me? Just me? But they know how to unfold a story. Let them unfold the story. Give them a moment. Trailers are great, but trailers are just meant to entice, to give you samples. So let's... I want to know where the main story is. I don't want to rush them, because I want quality, not quantity. Rushed product leads to absolute chaos, and you get things like the breakdown of Affinity Nikki with that update. You get the debut of Cyberpunk 2077, where it all went to shit because we were more interested in a deadline than the quality of the product. I want the quality. Let them cook. That's I will sit back as long as I get some sort of acknowledgement from Infold that these things are coming, that they've heard, then absolutely, I am down to wait. There's a lot of stuff in this game. And also, now that we've gotten to the end of World Underneath, as I said at the beginning of the stream, I'm really excited to now take all of you on this journey and go back to the myths. So, starting next week, will be the myth sessions, and we will be reading through all of them. So we are we're gonna start with Lightseeker next week, and we're gonna go in rounds is how I've decided this. So I went back and forth, and I debated with myself whether I should just do the myths back to back to back to back in terms of like, all right, we'll do all of Xavier and then we'll do all of Rafayel. But I think I want to break it apart. I want to go as they were originally done, which is in rounds, and look at the interweaving of everything. And before anyone asks, yes, I did swap Rafayel, and we're doing God of Tides before we're doing Abyssal Walker. There's stuff there that I want to get to first before we go into Abyss Walker. So round 1 of the myths is going to have Raphael's God of Tides instead of Abyss Walker. Abyss Walker will be in round 2 of the myths, but I've got them pretty much scheduled out until October. So we'll be going I think it's Lightseeker, and then it's Lightseeker, Foreseer, God of Tides, Relentless Conqueror, the Colonel, and then we start back at the top, and we'll do Lumiere, Master of Fate, Abyss Walker, Abyssum Sovereign, and then Ultimate Weapon XO2, and then back to the top again with King of Dark Knight, and so on and so forth. So we are going to sit down, and we are going to, each stream is dedicated to the myth. We're going to read through the whole dang myth together, and we're going to munch on it. We're going to let it unfold in front of us with all the stuff that we've read, with the main story, the world underneath. So I hope you're looking forward to that. I'm interested to see if anything pops out to me on a second or third go, because it's been a while since I've actually read some of these myths, so it's going to be interesting to go diving back in. So yes, I hope you've enjoyed reading the world underneath with me and sharing that. I know that I enjoyed it with you a lot. Even as I cried through a couple of these stories and tried to enunciate. Also, I hope you all saw, we will be bringing Sire back. Sire Knight is back. We're going to do another go round with him in Love and Deepspace. So that's going to be really exciting. And I will, don't worry, Miz, I will do Nikki's Revenge before I clock out. We're turning that into a bit of a series. He's hooked children. We hooked Sire. Deep Space Trial, Open Orbits. I'm still stuck on 240. This is not going to get any better, y'all. Love you. It's really not. So I hope you're all jazzed about Sire's return to Love and Chick Space. I'm eager to see, as he plays through the story, if Xavier continues to be the one that maintains his interest.
Be careful, don't let it hit you.
Taste our bloodlust.
Then perish. It's your time to shine.
Sylus.
Thanks, Vampire Daddy. Love your coffin. Looks great.
Stay on your toes. It's changing how it attacks.
Is it?
We're covered. Be careful.
Go away. Explode.
It's your time to shine. We're halfway there.
Chomp chomp.
Blood and bond. It's a small gift.
Everyone who receives your gifts lives.
But we're covered. Be careful. This is when we'll
Let the blood feast begin.
together.
Taste our bloodlust.
Then perish. Time to shine. Listen to fate's
'Tis
dying
time.
echo.
Show me the
Summon
glory.
death's shadow.
Let us waltz in the sky.
Fall into infernal abyss.
Oh, I love the animations for it. It really is so good.
That's it?
You're as unsatisfied as I am.
Hey, Shinobu! Okay, cool. I made it past the first round for the first time.
We'll
Love
send
that.
them back to the darkness.
Not a Lumivore!
Your fate
I
has
break
been
your
sealed.
shields with my
I
flowers.
shall be the judge.
The gravity here is stronger and will be pulled in more frequently. Be on the lookout. Don't worry, you'll get another shot.
I don't remember the mechanics of this boss, but that's fine, because we're just gonna stabby
Your
attack.
fate has been sealed.
Break
I
your
shall be
shield.
the judge.
The enemies are weak. Now's our chance.
None for you.
Me.
Let's use a support skill. Why? Because I can.
For sinners.
Flowers!
There shall be no mercy.
No
Go back
mercy!
to the pit you came from.
Watch out, it's getting back up.
Your fate
And no
has
shields.
been sealed.
I shall be the judge.
The enemies are weak. Now's our chance. Keep up the
Is it our
momentum.
chance? Thank you, Sadie.
Bring it on.
Support skill for funsies.
Watch out, it's getting back up.
Your fate has
No,
been sealed.
I deny
I
you.
shall be the judge.
The enemies are weak. Now's
No
our
shields
chance.
for you. Make it
Life
pretty.
and death, hand in hand. All must die.
Heed the king's words.
Heed the king's word.
Sever.
careful
I'm gonna
not
go
to
with
get
this
hit.
one. It's probably wrong. It's cool. I only have a minute left on the clock.
Eat this.
I am not Nikki. I am not
Everlasting
defeating
nuts.
this.
So that's not it. Follow me.
Yep. Should have gone to the different one. It's
Another
okay.
soul falls by my blade.
Another
Your
soul
fate
falls by
has
my
been
hand.
sealed.
You're so serious.
I shall be the
Ladykins.
judge.
Come
The
on
enemies
now.
are weak. Now's our chance.
Careless.
I'm gonna hide behind this thing.
Yeah, I think you're glowing.
I think you're glowing.
For sinners.
There shall be no mercy.
Pay attention to its moves. Watch out, it's getting back up.
No shields for anybody.
Be careful. Here comes an attack.
The enemies are weak. Now's our chance.
Sport skill.
Be reduced to ashes.
No. That one.
Be careful.
Pop
not to
that
get
one.
hit.
My turn. It's recovered already? How tiresome.
Ooh, I somehow perfectly dodged that. I'm very proud of me.
Your fate has been sealed.
I shall be the
20
judge.
The
seconds
enemies are
left on the
weak.
clock.
Now's our chance.
Life and death, hand in hand. All must die.
Heed the king's words.
Sever.
Not like this.
Because I could.
A punishment is in order.
Don't worry, you'll get another shot. Watch out.
Pay attention.
Only you can decide your fate.
Stop focusing on him.
Watch out.
Focus on him.
It's trying to take you down with it.
I hate when my target changes. Oh well, I did my best. I made it through the first level all by myself. Yes, I know I'm on manual, okay? I don't look. Okay, so FYI to the YouTube folks, on Twitch, there's a channel reward that Ms. likes to use that's called Nikki's Revenge. And for Nikki's Revenge, I have to battle on manual. On Nikki's channel, there's a channel reward called Auto Battle Trauma, where she is forced to sit there and let the auto battler do her fighting for her while she critiques it like a sassy bitch. So those are the two rewards, depending on who's streaming and whether or not you've joined our Twitch channels. So, I did my best. You are a cute, sassy bitch. I believe in you. Yeah, way too early in the stream. Bless you. And I got buried under the onslaught. But that's all right. When next Nikki and I are together, which, by the way, FYI, everybody, for my senior hunt contest, this was my lineup. So, I had, it was Apple Daddy and Dragon Daddy were very much interested in killing a lot of things. So they decided to come forth and do the job. And they did it well, to the tune of 36 to 36 on auto. blessed be for me. But yes, so this is what my senior hunt contest looked like for me. Teen Crapple. Oh, Crow Apple doing its best. All right, darlings. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream. I hope to see you on the streams later this week. As always, tomorrow is Nikki with Kitty Cards, Crane Games, and Battle Stuff. Thursday, we will be Warframing. Woohoo! And I will be doing Rising Tide. It'll be my first look at that quest. It's a lot of lore, kids. If you like lore and story, can I suggest Warframe? We've accidentally started converting a lot of Love and Deepspace girls over to Warframe. I don't know how that happened. I blame Crystal. And of course,
Just like that movie we
Friday
watched
should
last
be
night.
Final Fantasy Friday, Nikki.
Two former lovers meet again
Are we
after years
are we
of
Final Fantasying?
gazing
Is the
into
fantasy
each other's
finaling?
eyes, just like
Yes,
us.
cool. So Friday will be Final Fantasy Friday with Nikki. We're floating on. We're doing our thing. And then, of course, Saturday night is Midnight Masochism, and you're back with me with Resident Evil 2. We completed Leon's quest. I'm so proud of me. And we're doing Claire Redfield. So we got a lady on deck with her fabulous red leather coat and me crying in a corner. Because it doesn't matter if I did it once before, we're doing it again. And I still hate liquors. Still make me cry. So yes, we have all the streams, all the things,
relaxed.
and of course a new podcast episode will
Yesterday
drop
you said that you'd
Thursday.
been busy
Nikki and I will be recording that later
Does this
tonight,
mean
so
you
keep
were
an eye out for that. Until then, I will say, as always, good night, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever the hell you are. YouTube, this is Mama Void signing out. See you next time.